Chapter 12:12. Consecutive breakthroughs. The protective barrier on your father's body is very special. Supremacy Spiritual Shu's eyes flickered as he said in a low voice, "Even I." Halfway through his sentence, Supremacy Spiritual Shu stopped. Frowning slightly, Supremacy Spiritual Shu continued, "In any case, listen to me and leave first." With that said, Supremacy Spiritual Shu took out a crystal ball and handed it to Ningyu. "As long as you notice that the crystal ball has broken, it means that I've broken the protective barrier. It won't be too late for you to come at that time." All right. Taking the crystal ball, Ningyu opened his mouth slightly, wanting to say something. However, when he saw Supremacy Spiritual Shu's determined expression, he did not continue. Creak. Although Ningyu had decided to leave the room, he was not a rash person. Before he left, he quietly left behind a wisp of soul force. Subsequently, Ningyu pushed open the door and walked out. Sigh. Looking at Ningyu's departing figure, Supremacy Spiritual Shu sighed softly and murmured, "The problem that's troubling Ningyu isn't just the protective barrier." Swish. Supremacy Spiritual Shu was not an indecisive person. Waving both hands, he first set up a small formation and then began to break the protective barrier on Ninghai's body. At the same time, in another room right next to it. With a thought, Ningyu released Lu Wei from his storage ring. Right now, Lu Wei looked no different from a normal person. However, Ningyu knew very well that Su Yun's terrifying vitality still remained in Lu Wei's consciousness. Like Lu Wei, Su Yun also had an extreme yin body. Last time, before Su Yun blew himself up, he injected the qi in his body into Lu Xuan's mind and helped Lu Xuan reach the peak of the manifestation realm. Furthermore, a whirlpool had appeared in Lu Wei's sea of consciousness. All the excess primordial qi had entered the whirlpool and lay dormant. Back then, Ningyu had already speculated that as long as Lu Wei could refine that much essence qi, her cultivation would very likely reach the 4th or 5th grade sovereign realm. Help Lu Wei refine her yuan qi. When they left the Beast King's palace, Ningyu was only at the initial stage human supremacy and was unable to help Lu Wei at all. Now that Ningyu had advanced to the peak 3rd grade human sovereign, his soul power had also increased from the middle 7th grade to the early 8th grade. In this state, Ningyu was very confident that he could help Lu Wei and help Lu Wei refine the yuan qi in her sea of consciousness. Whoosh. Ningyu was not an indecisive person. If he said he would do it, he would do it. First, he placed Lu Wei on the chair. Then, Ningyu unleashed his powerful perception and slowly entered Lu Wei's sea of consciousness. Ningyu's speed was not fast. He entered bit by bit. Last time, Ningyu had seen how terrifying the yuan qi in Lu Wei's sea of consciousness was. Therefore, he did not dare to relax this time. If he relaxed even a little, he might die a horrible death. Kai. However, the moment Ningyu's soul power entered Lu Wei's sea of consciousness, a kai sound erupted. Whoosh. Then, a terrifying whirlpool appeared again. Oh no. With the appearance of the whirlpool, Ningyu realized the seriousness of the problem. Because he discovered that the soul power that he had left in Lu Wei's sea of consciousness was actually being openly devoured by the whirlpool. If the whirlpool had only devoured Ningyu's soul power, Ningyu would not have been so shocked. What shocked Ningyu was that the devouring power emitted from the whirlpool seemed to have locked onto him. It had already moved from Lu Wei's sea of consciousness to his body. Even if Ningyu was prepared, he still felt a little troubled facing the terrifying devouring power. Law of space, sapling. At the critical moment, Ningyu hurriedly communicated with the sapling and the law of space. "Don't you have strong devouring power? I have the sapling and the law of space. I don't believe you can be stronger than me." Whoosh. Whoosh. The sapling and the law of space did not drop the ball. They instantly flew out from the storage ring and floated above Ningyu's head. Two devouring powers that were not weaker than the ones emitted from the whirlpool began to fight on Ningyu's body. 3 types of devouring power. One came from the whirlpool, one came from the sapling, and one came from the law of space. Even though it was 1 against 2, the devouring power emitted from the whirlpool was not at a disadvantage at all. What's going on? At this moment, Ningyu was a little confused. Why was the whirlpool in Lu Wei's sea of consciousness so powerful? It could actually contend with the sapling and the law of space. Whoosh whoosh. Time flew by, and 3 minutes passed in the blink of an eye. In these 3 minutes, Ningyu experienced what it meant to have ice and fire at the same time. In the first 2 minutes, the sapling and the law of space were still able to contend with the devouring power emitted from the whirlpool. But as time passed, especially after the 3rd minute, the situation suddenly changed. The sapling and the law of space only lasted for 3 minutes before they declared defeat and returned to the storage ring. Come back, all of you come back. Seeing the sapling and the law of space flee in panic, Ningyu gritted his teeth in anger. When they were fighting for essence crystals and energy, the two of them worked very hard. Now that they were in danger, they chose to flee. After we get through this crisis, I'll definitely teach you a lesson. After saying that, Ningyu began to resist the terrifying devouring power emitted from the whirlpool. Bang! At this moment, a muffled sound rang out in Lu Wei's mind. Boom! Immediately after, a terrifying aura surged into the sky. Paragon state. Sensing the terrifying aura emanating from Lu Wei, Ningyu's mouth opened slightly in disbelief. Could it be that advancing to the paragon state was so simple? One must know that Lu Wei was only at the peak of the manifestation state earlier, and even her consciousness was very blurry. But in this state, Lu Wei could advance to the paragon state in just a few minutes. It was truly infuriating to compare oneself to others. No, it's still increasing. Ningyu's shock did not last long before he realized that Lu Wei's aura was still increasing. Early stage first-grade human supremacy, mid-stage first-grade human supremacy. The speed at which Lu Wei's aura was increasing was indeed a little terrifying. Bang! Not long after, a muffled sound was heard. Lu Wei's cultivation had also completely reached the second-grade human supremacy state. Ordinary martial artists would need several years or even decades to advance from the first-grade human supremacy state to the second-grade human supremacy state. Even the most talented martial artists would need about a year. But Lu Wei only took a few minutes to advance from the first-grade human supremacy state to the second-grade human supremacy state. Gulp. The rapid increase in Lu Wei's aura made Ningyu swallow a mouthful of saliva uncontrollably. Could it be? What shocked Ningyu was yet to come. Ningyu was surprised to find that Lu Wei's aura did not show any signs of weakening after advancing to the second-grade human supremacy state, but was still rapidly increasing. Bang! His mouth opened wide enough to fit a fist. Ningyu was completely dumbfounded. Lu Wei had actually advanced to the third-grade human supremacy state. This was unprecedented. This was truly unprecedented. Ningyu had never encountered such a thing before. What the F***ck? In the next moment, Ningyu directly cursed. As a person who had lived 2 lives, he had seen a lot of the world. There had never been anything like this that had shocked him so much. Because, Lu Wei of the third-grade human supremacy state. Chapter 12-13. The mantis stalks the cicada crack. Ningyu's shocked expression didn't last long before he was attracted by a crisp sound. He saw Lu Wei suddenly open her eyes, and an extremely crisp sound came from her sea of consciousness. Rumble. The result naturally didn't need to be described. 4th-grade human sovereign. At this moment, Lu Wei advanced from 3rd-grade human sovereign to 4th-grade human sovereign. Although Lu Wei's aura was only that of an initial 4th-grade human sovereign, her advancement speed still shocked Ningyu. After advancing to 4th-grade human sovereign, the vortex in Lu Wei's sea of consciousness completely dissipated and turned into nothingness. As the vortex dissipated, the powerful devouring power from the vortex also disappeared from Ningyu's body. Phew! As the devouring power disappeared, Ningyu let out a long sigh of relief. The worry in his heart was slightly alleviated. To be honest, the devouring power just now really worried Ningyu. Even the sapling and the law of space couldn't do anything to it. From this, one could see how terrifying the devouring power was. Ningyu! After recovering, Lu Wei looked around. She opened her mouth and asked in confusion, "Where is this? Why am I? What?" Before she could finish her words, Lu Wei revealed a shocked expression. Ningyu, how did I advance to 4th grade human sovereign? Lu Wei exclaimed. Hearing Lu Wei's words, Ningyu's face was full of black lines. When you advanced just now, your consciousness was still in a blurry state. After thinking about it, Ningyu decided to tell Lu Wei the truth. Who knows, he might even be able to find out Lu Wei's true identity. After sorting out his thoughts, Ningyu told Lu Wei what happened. You must calm down later and try to control yourself. I see. Lu Wei was surprisingly calm. By the way, your identity. Although Lu Wei was unexpectedly calm, Ningyu still decided to ask if Lu Wei knew her true identity. What happened next made Ningyu feel very helpless. As soon as he mentioned the word identity, Lu Wei held her head in her hands and looked like she was in pain. All right, I won't ask anymore. Helpless, Ningyu could only give up on asking. Anyway, there was plenty of time. Maybe after a while, Lu Wei would remember something. I want to be alone for a while. Lu Wei's eyes flickered, and she directly asked him to leave. Be careful. Inform me immediately if anything happens. Although Ningyu felt a little helpless, since Lu Wei had asked him to leave, it wouldn't be right for him to stay. After bidding farewell to Lu Wei, Ningyu went to the next room. Sigh. The series of events left Ningyu speechless. First, he was chased out of the room by revered Lingshu, and now by Lu Wei. Ningyu was not a pessimist. After a soft sigh, he waved his hands and began to practice the Netherworld Samsara palm. In terms of cultivation, Ningyu was a peak 3rd grade human supreme and could not advance to 4th grade human supreme in a short period of time. In terms of the strength of his soul, Ningyu was at the early 8th grade and could not advance in a short period of time. Under such circumstances, he could only work hard on practicing martial techniques to quickly increase his battle strength. The Universal Palm was the 9th form of the Netherworld Samsara Palm. When practiced to the extreme, it was extremely powerful. However, Ningyu had only practiced to the 2nd stage and was still a distance away from the extreme state. Now that he had the time, Ningyu began to practice without any hesitation. Swoosh. Recalling the cultivation method of the Universal Palm in his mind, Ningyu wrapped his Yuan Qi around his wrist and struck out with a palm. Crack. The palm print shattered quickly after being struck out. Not enough. Shaking his head, Ningyu's soul power surged in his body and combined it with his Yuan Qi to practice the Universal Palm. At the initial success realm, the palm print could transform into the left half of the Qian character. At the intermediate success realm, it could transform into a complete Qian character. At the greater success realm, it could transform into the Kuan character. At the ultimate success realm, the Qian and Kuan characters would merge into one. Ningyu's goal today was not only to cultivate the Universal Palm to the greater success realm, but also to the ultimate success realm. Because only the ultimate success realm of the Universal Palm could increase his battle strength by around 50%. Crack, crack, crack. With a flick of his wrist, Ningyu struck out multiple palm prints. As soon as these palm prints reached midair, they all shattered. Ningyu knew that the Universal Palm would be harder to cultivate as he progressed. He was not impatient, and every time he struck out a palm print, he would strive to have variations. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, 3 hours had passed. Ningyu waved both his hands continuously. His early-stage 8th grade soul power, combined with his majestic Yuan Qi, suddenly blasted out. Swoosh. In the next moment, a red palm print peeled off from Ningyu's palm. Universal. In midair, 2 huge Qian and Kuan characters appeared. Success. Looking at the 2 huge characters in midair, Ningyu's face lit up. After 3 hours of cultivation, he had finally cultivated the Universal Palm to the greater success realm. There was a saying that went, "Since you have reached the greater success realm, can the ultimate success realm be far away?" Taking a deep breath, Ningyu completely emptied his mind and began to wholeheartedly cultivate the Universal Palm. While Ningyu was fully focused on cultivating the Universal Palm, the void not far from the capital suddenly split open. Buzz. As the void split open, an old man quietly appeared. The old man first took out a crystal ball and looked at it, then his figure flashed, once again tearing open the void and disappeared. Whoosh. About 10 minutes to the west of the capital, a whirlpool suddenly appeared in the space. Several figures emerged from the whirlpool. Looking closely, these people were roughly divided into 2 camps. One of the camps had 5 people, 2 old men and 3 young men. The other camp only had 3 people, 1 old man and 2 young men. Fang Haigua, why did you stop? In the camp of 5 people, an old man dressed in grey said in a deep voice, Dan Kai kills without blinking an eye. If we were even half a beat slower, Dong He and the rest might be in danger. He, Zhuo Kang, the Mystic Moon Continent's alchemist union is too far from the great Xia kingdom. The old man called Fang Haigua smiled and said, we have traveled a long distance and have not rested at all. Everyone is very tired. Furthermore, your Mystic Moon Continent's alchemist union can't send any experts over. We came to help you out of goodwill, can't we even rest? Then you guys stay and rest, let's go. With a cold snort, Zhuo Kang waved his hand and flew toward the capital. Behind Zhuo Kang, 4 martial artists chased after him and disappeared in an instant. Not long after Zhuo Kang and the rest left, Fang Haigua's lips curled up. Elder Fang, should we follow them? A young martial artist beside Fang Haigua hesitated. No need. Chapter 12:14. Provoke on the streets of the capital of the great Xia kingdom. A black dog that wasn't too big stood on its hind legs, its front paws making a 180-degree turn, and it carried them on its back. Dark Emperor. This black dog was the Dark Emperor. On both sides of the Dark Emperor, there were 5 martial artists half a step into the manifestation realm. Since Dan Guzi, the Sword of Evil, and the others hadn't recovered to their peak, the task of patrolling the capital naturally fell to the Dark Emperor. After being in the capital for so long, the Dark Emperor was finally proud for once. 10 martial artists who were half a step into the manifestation realm surrounded him like stars surrounding the moon. Ouyang Lun. After patrolling for about half an hour, the Dark Emperor felt bored. Whoosh. Ouyang Lun had been following beside the Dark Emperor. Hearing the Dark Emperor's words, he hurriedly tore open the void and appeared. You take them to other places to patrol, I'll just walk around. The Dark Emperor waved his hand and said, remember, if anything happens, inform me immediately. Remember not to be impulsive. Yes. Ouyang Lun hurriedly nodded. Following behind the Dark Emperor, a pinnacle 3rd-grade sovereign, Ouyang Lun felt a little pressured. Now that he heard the Dark Emperor's words, he immediately led the 10 half-step manifestation realm martial artists and left the area. Boring. After Ouyang Lun and the others left, the Dark Emperor moved and sat down in a restaurant. Waiter, the best dishes of our restaurant, such as hairy pork and fire leopard meat, serve them to me. Dong. The Dark Emperor was not the kind of person who ate alone. No, it should be said that the Dark Emperor was not the kind of dog who ate alone. He took out a piece of supreme-grade origin crystal and threw it on the table, saying, don't take some trash to pass off as good. I have plenty of origin crystals. The Dark Emperor acted very arrogantly. He had a fearless expression on his face. Elder Fang, do you want me to test it out? At a table not far from the Dark Emperor sat 3 martial artists. An old man and 2 young men. It was none other than Fang Guosheng and the others. There's no need. This black dog isn't simple. Let's take a look first. Shaking his head, Fang Guosheng said, our goal is to kill Zhuo Kang and the others, not to create a conflict with other dogs. Waiter, here we are. You're here, dear customers. May I know what you need? A manservant quickly walked over and asked. This is for you. Fang Guosheng withdrew a transcendent-grade origin crystal and casually tossed it to the attendant. I have a few questions. As long as you answer them seriously, you won't be lacking in benefits. Hiss. After receiving the transcendent-grade origin crystal, the attendant gasped in shock. He had worked in this restaurant for so long, but he had never met such a generous customer. Now that there was a big fish coming, he naturally had to grab it tightly. Please feel free to ask me anything. I promise to tell you everything I know. The manservant patted his chest and promised. I heard that a Dan Kai appeared in the capital some time ago. Fang Guosheng set up a soundproof array formation in the surroundings and began to question the manservant. The The soundproofing array formation that Fang Guosheng had set up caused the Dark Emperor to frown slightly, his expression a little ugly. The reason why the Dark Emperor entered this restaurant was not because he wanted to eat meat, but because when he was patrolling, he discovered the aura of an expert. As soon as he entered the restaurant, the Dark Emperor discovered that Fang Guosheng's group was not simple. The other two young men were better off. Their cultivation should be at the peak of rank 8 human sovereign. As for the old man, his cultivation was at least at rank 9 human sovereign. I should inform Dan Guzi first. The Dark Emperor thought about it and finally decided to inform Dan Guzi. Against a peak rank 8 human sovereign, the Dark Emperor could fight and even kill them. But against a rank 9 human sovereign, the Dark Emperor didn't even have the ability to resist. Informing Dan Guzi was the best decision. After informing Dan Guzi, the Dark Emperor didn't choose to leave. Instead, he continued to stay. The Dark Emperor wanted to see just what kind of people these three were. So that's how it is. Fang Guosheng didn't know that the Dark Emperor had informed Dan Guzi, nor did he care. After hearing the manservant's narration, Fang Guosheng frowned slightly and murmured, "I want to see just what kind of person this Ningyu is." Under the temptation of benefits, the manservant told Fang Guosheng everything he knew, including the deeds of Ningyu and the Dark Emperor. "Zhao Yong, go and test that black dog." After a moment, Fang Guosheng said, "If possible, bring it over." "Understood." Zhao Yong nodded and immediately stood up, walking towards the Dark Emperor. A moment later, Zhao Yong stood in front of the Dark Emperor. "Elder Fang wants you to go over." Zhao Yong didn't beat around the bush and went straight to the point. "Who is Elder Fang?" "I don't know him, and I don't want to go over," the Dark Emperor said indifferently. "Whether you go over or not is not up to you." Zhao Yong's eyes turned cold. As soon as the word "you" landed, Zhao Yong's right hand brought with it a violent gust of energy and punched towards the Dark Emperor's head. Although Zhao Yong didn't use his full strength in this punch, an ordinary rank 3 human sovereign wouldn't be able to block it. How strong can a black dog be? Zhao Yong didn't believe it. Just now, the manservant had praised the Dark Emperor to the heavens, saying how powerful he was. In his view, the Dark Emperor was only a peak rank 3 human sovereign. With his cultivation at rank 8 human sovereign, if he couldn't even deal with the Dark Emperor, then he would be no different from trash. Therefore, Zhao Yong decided to use force to subdue the Dark Emperor. "You're courting death." Just because the Dark Emperor didn't want to make a move didn't mean that others could provoke him. Although he was only a peak rank 3 human sovereign, he was one of the 5 absolute geniuses, just like Ningyu. Who was Zhao Yong? A mere pinnacle rank 8 human sovereign. Zhao Yong was still lacking if he wanted to deal with him. Swinging his tail, he heavily whipped Zhao Yong's wrist. Piak! A crisp sound rang out. Voila! In an instant, the cultivators in the inn scattered in all directions. They had witnessed the Dark Emperor's reputation. Now that someone was fighting the Dark Emperor, they didn't want to be a living target. Ah! The intense pain coming from his wrist and the huge bloody mark on it caused Zhao Yong to let out a hysterical scream. "Damned dog, I'll skin you alive." Zhao Yong raged. His strength wasn't stronger than the Dark Emperor in the first place. In addition, he did not use his full strength in that move, while the Dark Emperor had used 100% of his strength. Defeat was unavoidable. Zhao Yong, who had flown into a rage out of humiliation, stomped his feet on the ground and charged forth once again. In order to get back at him, Zhao Yong had used his full strength in this punch without holding back. It was so much so that Zhao Yong had even wrapped his soul energy around his wrist and smashed it towards the Dark Emperor's head. Zhao Yong was too rash. That dog is only a pinnacle rank 3 human sovereign, how strong can it be? Beside Fang Guosheng, Wang Song was a little unhappy as he said, "This move of Zhao Yong's will probably shatter that dog's skull." Zhao Yong and Wang Song had been fighting openly and covertly all year round. Chapter 12:15. Chapter 12:15. Suicide. Do you really think that Zhao Yong can defeat that black dog? Fang Guosheng's words sounded out beside Wang Song's ears, without joy or sorrow. Hearing that, Wang Song was first stunned, then said doubtfully, "Zhao Yong's martial strength is only slightly weaker than mine. Dealing with that black dog should be more than easy. Who? Smiling, Fang Guosheng did not continue speaking. Could it be that Zhao Yong being repelled wasn't because of carelessness? Wang Song's brows revealed a somewhat shocked expression. Honestly speaking, although Wang Song said that Zhao Yong's martial strength was inferior to his, the actual situation was that he and Zhao Yong were evenly matched. In Wang Song's subconscious, he did not believe that the Dark Emperor could win. Wang Song's eyes locked onto the Dark Emperor and Zhao Yong, wanting to see just who would win who. Bang! In the next instant, a clear sound rang out. Swoosh! Swoosh! The two figures separated upon contact, each retreating several dozen feet away. Just looking at the distance retreated, one could not discover who won. Evenly matched. Looking at the distance retreated, the Dark Emperor and Zhao Yong were evenly matched, neither able to do anything to the other. Zhao Yong, I've long told you to cultivate properly. You can't only care about raising your alchemy level and neglect your martial strength. You just wouldn't listen. Fang Guosheng's words sounded out in a timely manner. After today, you should know that there's always someone better out there. Speaking up to here, Fang Guosheng seemed to feel that it was a little inappropriate and said, there's always someone better out there. Poochie. The moment Fang Guosheng's words landed, Zhao Yong violently spewed out a large mouthful of fresh blood, his complexion becoming extremely pale. On the other hand, the Dark Emperor was completely unscathed, no different from earlier. What? The sudden change made Wang Song's expression change greatly. Wang Song would never have thought that Zhao Yong, who was at peak grade 8 human sovereign realm, would actually be placed in the hands of a grade 3 human sovereign realm black dog. Could it be that this black dog was pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger? His true cultivation was not at peak grade 3 human sovereign realm? What did you guys come to the Great Xia Empire for? Although he defeated Zhao Yong, the Dark Emperor's expression was very grim. Even Zhao Yong's strength made him feel troubled. It could be seen that once the old man made a move, the consequences would be disastrous. He might even be caught in an instant. Sure enough, before one wave had subsided, another. His comfortable life only lasted for a few hours before it was destroyed by these people in front of him. I wonder where they came from. The Corpse Sect, the Blood God Palace, the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, or the Sacred Heaven Gate of the Ice Domain. The Dark Emperor's heart raced, trying to guess the identities of Fang Guosheng and the others. We didn't come to the Great Xia Kingdom for anything important. Fang Guosheng's expression was emotionless as he replied, I believe you know Dong He. We are here in the Great Xia Kingdom mainly to look for him. Dong He? You're from the Alchemy Union. The Dark Emperor was not a fool. Since Fang Guosheng knew Dong He, it meant that he was definitely someone from the Alchemy Association. As for whether it was the Mystic Moon Continent's Alchemy Union or Dan Cheng Continent's Alchemy Union headquarters, the Dark Emperor had no idea. You're right. Unfortunately, there's no prize. Fang Guosheng said, where is Dong He? Take us to him. Fang Guosheng knew that Zhuo Kang and the others would definitely go to find Dong He. In other words, as long as he found Dong He, he would be able to find Zhuo Kang and catch them all in one fell swoop. In order to destroy and kill Zhuo Kang, he had been enduring for a long time, all for this moment. Now that the opportunity was right in front of him, he naturally wouldn't let it go for nothing. Who is Dong He? I don't know him. The Dark Emperor said coldly. Sigh, it seems like you won't cry until you see the coffin. With a light sigh, Fang Guosheng said, I originally planned to let you live, but since you're so stubborn, I can only send you to heaven. With that, Fang Guosheng released his aura and frantically pressed down on the Dark Emperor. Crack crack. Fang Guosheng's aura was extremely terrifying, causing the Dark Emperor's legs to bend, as though he was about to kneel down. Who are those three? Why did they dare to do that to the Dark Emperor? I'm not sure, but since they dared to do that to the Dark Emperor, it means that their backing is very strong. In the Great Xia Kingdom, who else has a stronger backing than the Dark Emperor? The Royal Family and Danwu College are both the Dark Emperor's backing. Danwu College and the Royal Family are nothing. The most important thing is Ningyu. Ningyu is a supreme realm martial artist. In the entire Great Xia Kingdom, there aren't many who are stronger than Ningyu. On the streets of the capital, The crowd stopped in their tracks and discussed the happenings in the inn. As Fang Guosheng had set up an aura isolation formation, his aura as a high-level human supreme was concealed. No one knew that he was a grade 9 human supreme, and they only thought that he was slightly stronger than the Dark Emperor. "Are you going to speak or not?" Fang Guosheng said while suppressing the Dark Emperor. "The heavens are merciful. I'll give you one last chance. Tell me where Dong He is." "I don't know," the Dark Emperor said coldly. "Not going to speak?" Raising his brows, Fang Guosheng raised his right hand and slapped the Dark Emperor's face. Pa pa pa. A series of crisp sounds rang out. The Dark Emperor's face was a little swollen from the slaps. Very good, very good. After a dozen slaps, Fang Guosheng finally stopped and said, "Let's go to Danwu College." Grabbing the Dark Emperor, Fang Guosheng's figure flashed and sprinted towards Danwu College. Dong He was a supreme realm martial artist and a late-stage grade 8 elixir refinement master. In the capital, there were 3 places that he was most likely to go: Danwu College, the royal family, and the Elixir Refinement Union. The first place Fang Guosheng went to was Danwu College. He brought the Dark Emperor and shuttled in the sky above the capital. Behind Fang Guosheng, Wang Song and Zhao Yong did not dare to be slow and followed closely. Zhao Yong and the rest did not dare to be too far away from Fang Guosheng. Through the exchange with the Dark Emperor, they knew that there was always someone stronger in the world. Even a dog possessed such powerful strength. The arrogance in their hearts weakened a little. "Me? Who dares to block my way?" After flying in the sky above the capital for dozens of seconds, Fang Guosheng stopped and floated in the air. Buzz! Buzz! The moment Fang Guosheng's voice fell, the void in front of him suddenly split open. Several figures appeared in his vision. Dan Guzi. Looking at the figure at the very front, Fang Guosheng clenched his fists tightly, a shocked expression on his face. "To think that you're still alive." As someone from the headquarters of the Pill Success Continent's Elixir Refinement Union, Fang Guosheng naturally recognized Dan Guzi. In fact, Fang Guosheng's hatred towards Dan Guzi was even greater than Saber Mountain Venerable. Back then, when Dan Guosheng was fleeing with the Devil Venerable, he killed one of his beloved disciples. This hatred had always been suppressed in the bottom of Fang Guosheng's heart. Now that he saw Dan Guosheng again, the viciousness on Fang Guosheng's face became increasingly obvious. Chapter 12:16. Bloodthirst. Fang Guosheng. Dan Guzi's expression was equally ugly. Fang Guosheng was sizing him up, and he was sizing Fang Guosheng up. In comparison, not only was Dan Guzi's expression ugly, but his heart had also sunk to rock bottom. On his side, only he was a 9th-rank mortal sovereign. The Sword of Evil and Xielan were only 8th-rank mortal sovereigns. As for Fang Guosheng's side, apart from him, Zhao Yong and Wang Song were both peak 8th-rank mortal sovereigns. The two sides weren't on equal footing. Most importantly, Fang Guosheng had already been an early 9th-rank mortal sovereign several years ago. After so many years of cultivation, Fang Guosheng's aura was vigorous. It was clear that he had improved even further. "Fang Guosheng, we'll settle our grudges ourselves." Taking a deep breath, Dan Guzi said coldly, "Release the Dark Emperor. This matter has nothing to do with him." "Haha, you want me to release this black dog?" Fang Guosheng smiled slightly. "It's very simple. Kneel down and kowtow to me a few times. Perhaps I'll consider it." Crack crack. Dan Guzi's fury reached its peak. He clenched his fists, cracking them. "You go first. Think of a way to notify Ning Yu and Sovereign Spiritual Shu." Pil Guzi first whispered a few words into Venerable Sword Nefarious' ears before speaking in a clear voice. "Fang Guosheng, change your conditions. Stall for time." Dan Guzi was well aware of the current situation. Before Ning Yu and Sovereign Spiritual Shu arrived, he had to do his best to stabilize Fang Guosheng and buy time for Ning Yu and the others. There was no way to win in a head-on clash. After all, Fang Guosheng was very powerful. He had no confidence in defeating him in a one-on-one fight. "Want to leave? It won't be so easy." Fang Guosheng's perception covered a radius of several kilometers. When he saw the Sword of Evil tear through space to leave, Fang Guosheng's eyes shone with a frightening light. He tore through space and landed in front of the Sword of Evil, blocking the Sword of Evil's path. Bang! He clenched his right hand into a fist and punched the Sword of Evil's chest with a violent gust of vital energy. The Sword of Evil felt a tearing pain in his chest, causing him to fly back several meters before crashing heavily into a nearby wall. Voila! The Sword of Evil smashed through the wall made of stones, causing rubble to scatter all over the ground. Shio! Taking advantage of this opening, the Dark Emperor shot toward Danguzi. Useless dog, you dare to run away? Zhao Yong was constantly paying attention to the Dark Emperor's actions. Seeing that the Dark Emperor had taken the opportunity to escape, Zhao Yong revealed a cold expression on his face. Stepping on the ground, Zhao Yong gave chase. After being defeated by the Dark Emperor, Zhao Yong wanted to get back at him. Unfortunately, the Dark Emperor was always being carried by Fang Guosheng, so he didn't have a chance. Now that the opportunity was here, Zhao Yong naturally had to grab it tightly and not let it go. Roar! Facing Zhao Yong, who was rushing over from behind, the Dark Emperor roared towards the sky, and immediately, several cold lights flew out from his mouth, attacking Zhao Yong. Paltry tricks. Zhao Yong clearly did not place these cold lights in his sights. His sleeves flicked. Immediately, a gust of wind blew past, blocking all of the cold lights that the Dark Emperor attacked. Damn it! If I were in my peak state, I'd definitely be the first to kill you. Seeing that the cold lights that he attacked out were easily blocked, the Dark Emperor cursed secretly, still dare to behave atrociously in my territory, truly living a poochie. The Dark Emperor's voice had yet to completely fade when he felt his body become light, flying up. Wang Song. At this moment, Wang Song also cooperated and attacked. The Dark Emperor in an injured state was already very taxing to face off against Zhao Yong alone, let alone adding in a Wang Song. 1-on-2, the Dark Emperor practically did not persist for long before being defeated. Fresh blood spurting wildly, the Dark Emperor was close to going berserk. The energy in his body surged, the purple gold wings on his back had an impulse to emerge. Zhao Yong, this black dog's strength isn't considered too strong. The two of us joining hands can easily defeat it. Succeeding with one move, Wang Song did not continue attacking. Instead, he turned around and said to Zhao Yong, "You were actually defeated at his hands just now, you were also too careless, right?" Humph. Being mocked by Wang Song, Zhao Yong snorted coldly and said, "Don't be cocky. After this mission ends, I want to spar with you properly." "Anytime," Wang Song said proudly. Roar. Right at this time, the Dark Emperor raised his head to the sky and roared. Immediately, the purple gold wings on his back completely surfaced. What? Heaven-devouring dog. Purple gold heaven-devouring dog. The sudden change made Wang Song and Zhao Yong open their mouths slightly, their faces revealing astonished looks. Ha ha ha. Fang Guosheng was different from Wang Song they all. After a brief moment of shock, Fang Guosheng laughed wildly and said, "Originally, I thought that the unexpected harvest of the Great Xia Kingdom trip this time was capturing Danguzi. Looking at it now, I was wrong, ridiculously wrong. Purple gold heaven-devouring dog, ha ha ha, purple gold heaven-devouring dog, ha ha ha, one can wear out iron shoes in fruitless search, only to find it without even looking for it." Fang Guosheng nearly went crazy. The reason why he would leave the Alchemy Association's headquarters and head to the profound moon continent, the goal was to find the heaven-devouring dog. There was a powerhouse in the Alchemy Association's headquarters that was injured and urgently needed the medicinal pills refined by the heaven-devouring dog to be able to be treated. Originally, Fang Guosheng thought that there was no way. Who would have thought that when the mountain was at the end of the road, there would be light at the end of the tunnel? Encountering the heaven-devouring dog here, furthermore, it was the purple gold heaven-devouring dog. Zhao Yong, Wang Song, go and capture that black dog. Remember, capture it alive. Fang Guosheng did not let excitement get to his head. He knew what he had to do now. Understood. Zhao Yong and Wang Song's brows also revealed excited looks. When they left the Alchemy Association, the upper echelons told them before that as long as they could find the heaven-devouring dog, there would definitely be heavy rewards when they return. As if seeing the hope of advancing to a Grade 9 Human Supreme, Grade 9 Alchemy Master, Zhao Yong and Wang Song instantly tore through the void, one left and one right, assaulting the Dark Emperor. Rumble. Since they wanted to capture it alive, then Zhao Yong and Wang Song, the two of them, did not deal a killing blow. Instead, they unleashed their auras, pressuring towards the Dark Emperor. Being pressured by Zhao Yong and Wang Song's auras, the Dark Emperor's expression was extremely gloomy. Going all out. The violet gold wings on his back flapped. The Dark Emperor forcefully endured the two terrifying auras, engaging in a great battle with Zhao Yong and Wang Song. Xielan, you take the sword of evil and leave first. I'll hold them back here. Turning his head to look at the Dark Emperor's battlefield, Dan Guzi sucked in a deep breath, revealing a resolute expression. After transforming into his original body, the Dark Emperor's combat power had risen considerably. Although he was still not Zhao Yong and Wang Song's match, at the very least, he would not be defeated within a short period of time. As for the Sword of Evil and Xielan, they could not help much even if they stayed behind. They would only add to the chaos. It was better to hurry and inform Ning Yu of the situation over here. As for him, he repeatedly waved his hands, opening his mouth and spitting out several drops of essence blood. Bloodthirst art. Dan Guzi's eyes turned cold. In the next instant, several drops of essence blood directly exploded in front of him. Following the explosion of essence blood, Dan Guzi's aura also rapidly soared. Bang! Chapter 12:17. Bitterly enduring. Haha, it's been so long since we last met. Your bloodthirst art seems to have weakened quite a bit. Fang Guosheng seemed to have long since expected that Dan Guzi would have such a trick up his sleeve. So when Dan Guzi's aura rose to the mid-rank 9 sovereign realm, he wasn't the slightest bit shocked. Back then, you were only a peak rank 8 sovereign. Using the bloodthirst art, you were able to raise your aura to the peak of the early rank 9 sovereign realm. Now you've regressed greatly. Furthermore, Fang Guosheng paused for a moment and then continued, if my guess is correct, you don't have a bloodthirst pill on you, right? Without a bloodthirst pill, half an hour from now, when the bloodthirst ART's effect is at its weakest, all your meridians will snap and you'll die. I don't need you to tell me whether all my meridians will snap or not. Dan Guzi's expression was extremely calm, so calm that it was a bit frightening. However, Dan Guzi was only calm on the surface. Inside, he was extremely worried. Fang Guosheng's understanding of him had already reached the peak. Back then, he had killed Fang Guosheng's beloved disciple, causing Fang Guosheng to furiously investigate him. Fang Guosheng even had a thorough understanding of his unique bloodthirst art. Now that Fang Guosheng had a chance to capture him, he definitely wouldn't give it up so easily. So there would definitely be a fierce battle today. Dan Guzi had already thrown his life to the back of his mind. As long as he could endure until Ning Yu and Spirit Void arrived, he would still have a chance of surviving. If he couldn't endure until Ning Yu and Spirit Void arrived, he would definitely die. Let's go. Xielan knew how serious this matter was. She took advantage of Dan Guzi and Fang Guosheng's conversation to grab the Sword of Evil's shoulder, tear open space, and enter. Crack. The void shattered, and Xielan and Sword Evil Venerable disappeared in an instant. Go! Fang Guosheng didn't seem to care about Xielan and the Sword of Evil's disappearance. But as his voice rang out, he also merged into the void. Not good. Seeing Fang Guosheng merge into the void, Dan Guzi's expression completely changed. Xielan, hurry. Bang. Bang. However, before Dan Guzi could finish speaking, he came to a sudden stop. Two figures bounced out of the void and landed heavily on the ground. Poochie. Poochie. Both of them spat out a mouthful of blood, and their auras plummeted to rock bottom in an instant. Sword of Evil, Xielan. These two cultivators were none other than Xielan and Sword Venerable, who were trying to escape from this area. Unexpectedly, Fang Guosheng had been waiting for this moment. Two consecutive punches landed on Xielan and the Sword of Evil's chests, severely injuring them. Dan Guzi, let me see just how much you've improved after all these years. Having successfully blown away Xielan and the Sword of Evil, Fang Guosheng raised his eyebrows and charged at Dan Guzi. Damn it! Looking at the incoming Fang Guosheng, Dan Guzi cursed inside. He hastily poured his mental seas far away go into his wrist, and his fist collided with Fang Guosheng's. Bang! An extremely clear sound rang out. Then, the two figures rapidly retreated. In the first exchange, both sides had been evenly matched. Neither had been able to do anything to the other. Not bad, not bad. You're pretty strong. You were actually able to block 50% of my power. Fang Guosheng rubbed his slightly sore fist. You won't be so lucky next, because I'll be using 100% of my power. Fang Guosheng's eyes shone with a frightening light. He tore through the void and instantly appeared in front of Dan Guzi. The violet yuan qi on his fist gradually expanded in Dan Guzi's eyes. In the end, it slammed into Dan Guzi's chest. Bang! Struck by Fang Guosheng's terrifying punch, Dan Guzi's entire body began to sway, as if he would collapse. It seems your bloodthirst art isn't good enough. Seeing Dan Guzi's miserable appearance, Fang Guosheng's lips curved. Since that's the case, I'll send you to hell. Bloodthirst art, ultimate profundity. Dan Guzi automatically ignored Fang Guosheng's mockery. He repeatedly waved his hands, and several drops of essence blood flew out and floated above his head. In order to increase his strength, Dan Guzi didn't hesitate to use the most terrifying move of the bloodthirst art, the ultimate profundity. Madman, you really are a madman. Although Fang Guosheng's combat power far surpassed Dan Guzi's, after seeing Dan Guzi use the ultimate profundity, he didn't even say a word. He directly chose to retreat. The reason the ultimate profundity was called the ultimate profundity was because of how terrifying it was. In order to use this move, Dan Guzi had even forced out all the essence blood in his body. It was easy to imagine how terrifying a move that consumed all the essence blood of an early rank 9 sovereign was. Fang Guosheng, I'll take you down with me today. After igniting all his essence blood, Dan Guzi's aura once more began to rise at a terrifying speed. 9th grade intermediate human supreme martial artist, 9th grade peak intermediate human supreme martial artist, bang. Following a muffled explosion, Dan Guzi's aura broke through his limit and reached the terrifying late rank 9 sovereign realm. Through their previous exchange, Dan Guzi had realized that although Fang Guosheng was strong, he still wasn't a late rank 9 sovereign. Fang Guosheng's cultivation base was only at the peak of the mid-rank 9 sovereign realm. His strength was still a bit off from the late rank 9 sovereign realm. Otherwise, Dan Guzi definitely wouldn't have used the ultimate profundity. Fuck. Fang Guosheng was very clear on the current situation. He knew that if he just kept running, there was no way he could escape. After cursing under his breath, Fang Guosheng took out a scroll from his bosom and threw it into the air. Explode. With a flick of his finger, a cold light shot out and struck the scroll. The scroll collided with the cold light and immediately exploded. Rumble. Once the scroll exploded, a terrifying shockwave spread out with Dan Guzi at the center. Ah! My eyes. My arm. Who saw my arm? My leg. You stepped on my leg. Just what the hell is that scroll? Why is the shockwave so strong? Ah! If I'd known, I wouldn't have stayed. All sorts of screams rang out as the scroll exploded. On the other side, the Dark Emperor and Zhao Yong immediately stopped fighting and hastily retreated. Because the scroll had been taken out by Fang Guosheng, he had made preparations beforehand. Fang Guosheng's entire body was surging with energy, barely managing to block the shockwave from the scroll's explosion. As for Dan Guzi, he wasn't so lucky. Not only did he have to protect himself, but he also had to help the Sword of Evil and Xielan. Yuan Qi surged out of his mental sea, forming a protective barrier around him. Chapter 12-18. Save, we can't go on like this. We have to think of something. Within the Yuan Qi barrier, Dan Guzi's expression darkened as he racked his brains for a countermeasure. In his current situation, even if he could withstand the aftermath of the scroll explosion, he would still fall into Fang Guosheng's hands. Dan Guzi wasn't an indecisive person. In order to fight Fang Guosheng and buy time for the Sword of Evil and Xielan, he didn't hesitate to use the last move of Bloodlust, the ultimate profundity. Who would have thought that Fang Guosheng would have a backup plan? He actually took out a terrifying scroll. At the center of the scroll, Dan Guzi could clearly feel his aura rapidly weakening. In just a few seconds, his aura had dropped from the late-stage 9th grade human Supreme Master to the middle-stage 9th grade human Supreme Master. Let's fight. Pilguz's eyes grew cold, and the energy in his mind surged. He quickly gathered it on his fist. Danguz's goal was very clear. He wanted to blow away the shockwaves from the explosion and send them toward Fang Wusheng. Success or failure, it all depended on this. Danguzi didn't dare to be careless. As he poured his energy into his fist, he paid close attention to Fang Wusheng's movements. Only when Fang Wusheng let his guard down could this plan succeed. Otherwise, it was very likely to fail. Buzz. What Danguzi didn't know was that although Fang Wusheng hadn't noticed his movements, a martial artist up in the air had seen everything. Bloodthirst. To think that I would encounter someone from the Alchemy Union here. There was an old man in the void. He took out a crystal ball and looked at it carefully. He mumbled, "I can feel that the person who killed Yi is in the capital." However, at this point, the old man paused and said doubtfully, "The aura disappeared when it reached here." With the help of the crystal ball, the elder tracked them all the way to the capital of the Da Xia kingdom. Initially, they had thought that they would be able to find the martial artist who had killed Yi. Who would have thought that the martial artist's aura would disappear completely? Under this premise, the old man naturally would not leave the capital. Instead, he chose to stay in the capital and investigate in secret. Let's wait a little longer. Taking a deep breath, the old man gradually merged with the void. Fang Wusheng. Just at this moment, Danguzi shouted, drawing Fang Wusheng's attention to him. What? As expected, Fang Wusheng was drawn over by Pilguz's shout. As soon as his attention fell on Danguzi, Fang Wusheng's expression completely changed. Fang Wusheng wasn't an idiot. When he saw Danguz's terrifying energy, he was completely dumbfounded. At this moment, Fang Wusheng guessed what Pilguzi was planning on doing. Block. In the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint, Fang Wusheng desperately sent out his essence, forming a protective essence barrier around him. Rumble. The barrier hadn't even fully formed when Danguz's right fist smashed out. The shockwaves from the explosion of the scrolls turned around and surrounded Fang Wusheng tightly. Catcher. Catcher. The Yuan Qi barrier that Fang Wusheng had set up was obviously not enough. Several crisp cracking sounds rang out. Cracks had appeared on the Yuan energy barrier around Fang Wusheng's body. At this rate, it was only a matter of time before the Yuan energy barrier shattered. Elder Fang, we're here to help you. At the critical moment, Zhao Yong and Wang Song gritted their teeth and rushed out in unison. The vigorous essence qi in their bodies was brought out, resisting the aftermath of the scroll explosion together with Fang Wusheng. Zhao Yong and Wang Song were both peak 8th grade human sovereigns. Regardless of whether it was soul force or essence qi, they were abnormally vigorous. With their addition, Fang Wusheng immediately felt the pressure decrease manifold. Ha ha ha. Pressure decreasing, Fang Wusheng threw his head back and laughed loudly as he said, Danguzi, when the aftermath of the scroll explosion dissipates, that will be the day you guys are kill. Originally, Fang Wusheng could very easily kill Danguzi. But he wanted to make Danguzi suffer. Now, if not for bringing Zhao Yong and Wang Song, he would even be counter-killed. After experiencing so many things, Fang Wusheng finally understood a principle. Toward enemies, one absolutely could not let them off. If they could kill. Damn it. Just a little bit more. Danguz's expression was very ugly. Seeing as he was about to succeed, who knew that Zhao Yong and Wang Song rushed out halfway, causing him to fall short at the last moment. Oh, right, where's the Dark Emperor? Shifting his gaze, Danguz's heart turned cold. In the surroundings, Danguzi did not discover any traces of the Dark Emperor. Could it be that the Dark Emperor went to inform Ning Yu and Danguzi? Thinking up to here, Danguz's originally dispirited thoughts became lively again. As long as Ning Yu rushed over, he still had a ray of hope. The urgent matter was to do his best to persevere until Ning Yu and Empyrean Spirit Void came over. Crack. Dreams were very rich, but reality was very bony. Just 3 minutes later, the aftermath of the scroll explosion thoroughly dissipated. The dissipation of the aftermath signified that Fang Guosheng was completely liberated. Dan Guzi, this day next year will be the anniversary of your death. It had never been like right now, Fang Guosheng wanting to kill someone. The aftermath had just dissipated when Fang Guosheng tore through the void and arrived in front of Dan Guzi. His right hand clenched into a fist and suddenly punched out. Even though Dan Guzi's aura dropped to peak middle stage 9th grade human sovereign, his combat power was still present. Similarly, his right hand clenched into a fist, colliding with Fang Guosheng's fist unavoidably. Two fists collided. Crack. Ah. Two sounds rang out in quick succession. The first sound came from the bones in Dan Guzi's fist shattering. The second sound came from Dan Guzi's miserable shriek. Dan Guzi, Fang Guosheng, said that I would kill you, so I will definitely kill you. I always keep my word. Fang Guosheng's lips curled up in a smile. His target was the injured Dan Guzi. Fang Guosheng, you're too arrogant. At this critical moment, a cold snort rang out. Swish. As the cold snort rang out, several figures shot out from the void. The martial artist at the very front tore through the void and punched at Fang Guosheng. Zhuo Kang. This sudden change caused Fang Guosheng's heart to shake. Disregarding all consequences, Fang Guosheng once more clenched his right hand into a fist, clashing head-on with Zhuo Kang. Swish. Swish. After this exchange, Fang Guosheng and Zhuo Kang both took several steps back. The two sides were equally matched. Fang Guosheng, our goal is to deal with Dan Ming. Since you've come to the capital, why didn't you come find me? Zhuo Kang's voice was cold as he landed in front of Dan Guzi. Don't waste your breath. I know why you saved Dan Guzi. Fang Guosheng's voice was low. If it wasn't for Dan Guzi, the devil paragon of the Shenyu Continent's Alchemy Union would definitely have died in the headquarters of the Alchemy Union. Since you know, then hurry up and scram. Chapter 12-19. Arrive. You want to save Dan Guzi? Fang Guosheng's gaze swept over the elder, Zhuo Kang, and the others. Then his expression turned extremely cold. That depends on whether or not you have the ability to do so. Let me remind you, don't be too arrogant, said the elder. Your cultivation base is the same as ours. You're all not good. The elder's expression changed before he could finish speaking. Because he saw Fang Guosheng's feet on the ground, and he was charging towards him at an extremely shocking speed. Although their cultivation bases were the same, Du Qiong was clear that he wasn't Fang Guosheng's match. Fang Guosheng was a peak mid-rank 9 sovereign, while he had just advanced to the mid-rank 9 sovereign realm. The difference between the two was enormous, even greater than the heavens. Bang! The difference in strength was huge, and the result was obvious. A muffled sound rang out, and Du Qiong's body was sent flying, crashing heavily onto the ground. Zhuo Kang, not only will Dan Guzi die today, even you will. I'll kill you. After sending Du Qiong flying, Fang Guosheng turned to look at Zhuo Kang. He was just about to spit out some vicious words, but his jaw dropped. Fang Guosheng realized that Zhuo Kang had already moved to save Dan Guzi and the others. Fang Guosheng's expression was extremely unsightly. It was extremely unsightly. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have held back when he had punched Du Qiong. But now, Dan Guzi had been saved, and Du Qiong's life wasn't in danger. Dan Guzi, what are you doing here? Zhuo Kang asked curiously after saving Dan Guzi. Now isn't the time to talk about this. I'll explain everything once we deal with Fang Guosheng. Dan Guzi knew what was most important. That was to join hands to deal with Fang Guosheng, not talk here. Deal with me? Fang Guosheng coldly said, it's been a long time since I've exercised my muscles. Today, I'll fight you. Fang Guosheng dashed out instantly as the word men rang out. Go. Zhuo Kang and the others didn't dare to be careless in the face of Fang Guosheng. They immediately charged forward to fight. The battle between the 4 9th grade human supremes created a huge commotion, with shockwaves flying everywhere. Let's fight in the sky. Pil Guzi was very clear that if this battle continued, the capital would definitely be affected. After all, the 4 of them were 9th grade mortal supremes and could easily destroy the capital. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The four figures instantly disappeared into the void. Rumble. Although Pilgoozy and the others were fighting in the sky, there were still occasional shockwaves. Every shockwave caused a house to fall apart. Zhuo Kang and Du Qiong, the two old dogs, are gone. Now let us play with you. Zhao Yong and Wang Song exchanged a glance, both seeing thick interest from the other party's eyes. The three cultivators that Zhuo Kang had brought along were all peak 8th grade human sovereigns. They were the higher-ups of the Mystic Moon Continent's Alchemy Union. Although their cultivation levels were similar, the difference in their battle prowess was like heaven and earth. Zhao Yong and Wang Song joining hands, they would probably be able to defeat the three of them very soon. Swoosh. Attacking as soon as they said they would, Zhao Yong and Wang Song rose from the ground and charged at the three martial artists that Zhuo Kang brought over. Damn it! Seeing as Zhao Yong and Wang Song were about to arrive beside him, Ding Cheng's expression was very ugly. After secretly cursing, he immediately retreated. Ding Cheng's battle prowess was the strongest one among the three of them. As for the other two, Zhu Da and Mo Shan, their cultivation had just advanced to peak 8th grade mortal supremes. Even joining hands, they could not contend with Ding Cheng. Under this premise, the three of them had no way of contending with Wang Song and Zhao Yong. Rumble. Being unable to contend did not mean that they would resign themselves to death. With Ding Cheng taking the lead, Zhu Da and Mo Shan, the three of them, started a great battle with Wang Song and Zhao Yong. Bang! The great battle had just erupted when Mo Shan was seized by Zhao Yong, blasting several dozen feet back with a punch. Poochie. Fresh blood spurted wildly, Mo Shan's aura plummeted rapidly. Silver spear wax head, nice to look at, but useless. Defeating Mo Shan in one move, Zhao Yong curled his mouth and said, "I'll let you live for a few more minutes first. After dealing with Ding Cheng and Zhu Da, I'll come back and slowly take care of you." Bang! Bang! On this side, Zhao Yong easily defeated Mo Shan. On the other side, Wang Song even fought 1 against 2 and did not fall into a disadvantage. Furthermore, after fighting for a few minutes, Wang Song seized a rare opportunity and easily defeated Zhu Da and Ding Cheng. From the start of the battle to the end of the battle, merely 3 to 4 minutes passed. Zhao Yong, Ding Cheng and Zhu Da belong to me. Mo Shan belongs to you. After the battle ended, it was naturally the time to divide the spoils of war. Not good, right? Half each. I want Ding Cheng and Mo Shan's half, Zhu Da and Mo Shan's other half belongs to you, Zhao Yong said hesitantly with slightly furrowed brows. Wang Song shook his head and said, "You can't say it like that. Whoever defeats them belongs to them. How about this, let's not argue either. Exchange a punch. Whoever wins, the three of them belong to them." Thinking about it, Zhao Yong said, "Good idea." Raising his brows, Wang Song instantly charged out. His fist contained berserk essence energy undulations, smashing fiercely towards Zhao Yong. F***CK. Zhao Yong did not think that Wang Song would make a move so decisively. He did not dare to dally and immediately poured essence energy into his wrist. With a backhand punch, it collided with Wang Song's fist that could not be avoided. The exchange of two peak grade 8 human sovereigns, although the aftershock was not as powerful as a grade 9 human sovereign, it still affected the surrounding Ding Cheng and the rest. Puff, puff. Spurting fresh blood continuously, the originally heavily injured Ding Cheng and the rest had even weaker auras at this time, their complexions pale. After one move, Zhao Yong retreated 3 steps, while Wang Song merely retreated 2.5 steps. The result was obvious. Zhao Yong's expression was extremely ugly. Lost. Ha ha ha, Zhao Yong, thanks for letting me win. Ding Cheng and the rest belong to me. Laughing loudly, Wang Song's footsteps moved, walking towards Ding Cheng and the rest. Belong to you? Did you ask me before? Right at this time, a faint voice came out from the void. Whoosh. Closely following these faint words was a black figure that swept out. Not good. Seeing the black figure, Wang Song's mind turned cold, hurriedly retreating. It was just that, Wang Song's attention was all on Ding Cheng and the rest. Shifting his attention now was clearly too late. Bang! The black figure's speed was very fast, arriving in front of Wang Song in a blink of an eye. A move slammed onto Wang Song's chest. The massive force that came from his chest made Wang Song fly out. However, Wang Song was well deserving of being a peak grade 8 human sovereign. His body that was flying out forcefully stopped in midair. Swallowing the sweetness in his throat, Wang Song said viciously, "Damn dog, I spared your life earlier. Not only do you not know how to cherish it, you even came to sneak attack me instead. Idiot." The Dark Emperor rolled his eyes at Wang Song and said in disdain, "If not for me being injured, do you think that the two of you joining hands would be my match? Now that I'm standing here, it means that your death date has arrived." Chapter 12:20. Grab firmly, you didn't see wrongly, I'm just a peak grade 3 human supreme. Nodding his head, Ningyu answered. Ha ha ha. Wang Song seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world. He first threw his head back and laughed wildly, then said sinisterly, "A peak grade 3 human supreme actually dares to speak to me like this, really tired of living. Ningyu, what's the point of talking crap with him? They're great tonics." Being bullied by Wang Song and Zhao Yong earlier made the Dark Sovereign very furious in his heart. The Dark Sovereign did not wish to waste time. He only had one thought in his heart, and that was to kill Wang Song and Zhao Yong, then devour them. Although devouring Wang Song and Zhao Yong had no way of advancing to grade 4 human supreme, his strength would ultimately increase a little. Reaching the Dark Sovereign's level, every bit of increase in strength was very difficult. Now that there was a chance, the Dark Sovereign naturally would not let it go. Great tonics. Indeed, an arrogant dog. Hearing the Dark Sovereign's words, Wang Song's brows raised up and he said sinisterly, "Today, I'll let you all know that there's always someone better, and heaven beyond heaven." At the same time the cold snort sounded out, Wang Song tore open the void and tunneled in. "The current me has already recovered to my peak state. It's already unrealistic for you to want to bully me like just now. Our identities should be swapped." Regarding Wang Song entering the void, the Dark Sovereign did not take it to heart. One-on-one, the Dark Sovereign did not fear either Wang Song or Zhao Yong. Crack. "You tear open the void, I'll similarly tear open the void." The Dark Sovereign tunneled into the void, wanting to find trouble with Wang Song. Whoosh. However, the Dark Sovereign had just tunneled into the void when his expression changed drastically. Because the Dark Sovereign discovered that Wang Song had already gushed out of the void since God knows when, arriving in front of the Sword of Evil. Smack. Grabbing the Sword of Evil's shoulder fiercely with his right hand, Wang Song said viciously, "Damn dog, trash grade 3 human supreme, I urge you guys better come over and kowtow a few times to me. Otherwise, I'll cripple him." Crack, crack. While talking, Wang Song's palm exerted a little force, pinching the Sword of Evil's shoulder until it gave off cracking sounds. "Zhao Yong, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and take control of Ding Cheng and the others," Wang Song said while controlling the Sword of Evil. "I don't need you to teach me what to do." Zhao Yong had yet to walk out of the shadow of being defeated by Wang Song. He said coldly, "Ding Cheng and the rest belong to you. It has nothing to do with me." "Fool." Wang Song berated, "If you don't want to die, you'd best do as I say." "I won't die even if I don't do as you say." Zhao Yong did not take Wang Song's words to heart in the slightest. He crossed his arms in front of his chest and said indifferently, "In Zhao Yong's view, Ningyu was only a pinnacle grade 3 human sovereign, and his strength wouldn't be that strong. But the Dark Emperor's strength was very formidable. As long as the Dark Emperor and Wang Song exchanged blows, both sides would surely suffer heavy losses. Under the premise that both sides were injured, he could easily gain control of Ding Cheng and the others. Hee. Thinking about how he would be able to advance further after devouring Ding Cheng and the others, Zhao Yong even felt a little excited and could not help but laugh out loud. "Who says that you won't die even if you don't do as he says?" A nonchalant voice sounded out beside Zhao Yong's ear. "That's right. No, wait. It's you." Zhao Yong nodded his head subconsciously and answered. However, his voice had just said halfway when Zhao Yong's eyes widened, his right hand hurriedly blasting out. "Ningyu." No idea when, Ningyu already arrived in front of him. In Ningyu's hands was a blood-red flying sword. On the sword body, Thick essence energy pulsed continuously. Slash. Zhao Yong wanting to block at this time was clearly already too late. Ningyu swiftly brandished the red fiend sword in his hands, stabbing viciously into Zhao Yong's heart area. In order to be able to kill Zhao Yong in one move, not only did Ningyu pour all of his essence energy into the red fiend sword, he even wrapped the strength of initial stage grade 8 soul force around the red fiend sword. Ample preparation, formidable strength. With these two prerequisites, Ningyu stabbed the red fiend sword into Zhao Yong's heart very effortlessly. Sensing the horrifying devouring power emitting off the red fiend sword, Zhao Yong could not resist crying out wildly, "Wang Song, save me! Quickly save me!" In order to survive, Zhao Yong completely forgot the arrogance and disdain earlier, pinning his hopes on Wang Song. Damn it! Wang Song's expression flickered incessantly. Honestly speaking, he had confidence in dealing with Ningyu in the beginning. But seeing Ningyu's horrifying offensive, he instantly lost confidence. Furthermore, apart from Ningyu, there was still an Dark Sovereign eyeing covetously. Save Zhao Yong? You have got to be kidding. Wang Song firmly remembered one point: as long as he controlled the Sword of Evil, Ningyu would not dare to do anything to him. Wang Song, I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. Seeing Wang Song's cold and gloomy expression, Zhao Yong nearly despaired. Become a ghost? You can't even become a ghost. The corners of Ningyu's mouth curled up. His wrist shook, and he directly brought out the myriad ghosts' holy flag. Whoosh! A soul swept out from inside the myriad ghosts' holy flag, tunneling into Zhao Yong's sea of consciousness. Whoosh! Whoosh! Following that, two streaks of cold light flew out of Zhao Yong's sea of consciousness, entering the myriad ghosts' holy flag once more. Thud. On the other hand, Zhao Yong's two eyes rolled back, falling straight to the ground. Can't waste it. The Dark Sovereign had sharp eyes and nimble hands, hurriedly rushing out, two claws grabbing Zhao Yong's shoulders, and flying to other places. Brat, where did that damn dog bring Zhao Yong to? Although he said that he did not care about Zhao Yong's life or death, the current situation, Wang Song still had to inquire. Relax, it'll be your turn in a while. Ningyu's voice was still very calm as he said, the two of your fates were already destined from the moment you guys opposed the Dark Sovereign. Want to kill me? Ha ha ha, I have your weakness in my hands, what right do you have to kill me? Wang Song laughed wildly and said, as long as you dare to approach me half a step more, I'll send him to the Western Paradise. Whoosh! Right at this time, the Dark Sovereign flew over from afar alone. Damn dog, where's Zhao Yong? Seeing the Dark Sovereign return alone, Wang Song said in a cold voice, if you dare to kill Zhao Yong, Elder Fang definitely won't let you off. Elder Fang? If I didn't guess wrongly, it should be that person being besieged in the void, right? Ningyu said coolly. Humph. Good that you know. Give you guys a word of advice, best not act rashly without careful consideration. Otherwise, Elder Fang will send you guys to hell. Wang Song said in a cold voice, as if he had a well-thought-out plan. Delicious, truly delicious. The Dark Sovereign stuck his tongue out, licked his lips, stared at Wang Song with a scorching look, and said, that guy just now was too skinny and weak, not even enough to fill the crevices between my teeth. You're not bad, rather fat. You should be able to let me eat my fill. Why you? You ate Zhao Yong? Wang Song's eyes opened wide, a look of horror written all over his face. Zhao Yong was the same as him, both peak 8th grade human supreme. Although his strength was a little stronger than Zhao Yong's, it could virtually be ignored. Now, even Zhao Yong was devoured. One could imagine, his outcome would not be much better either. Thinking up to here, Wang Song grabbed the Sword of Evil firmly, not daring to relax in the slightest. Chapter 1221. See-through. What's the big deal? Isn't it just eating a person? Is there a need to scare you until like this? Curling his lips, the Dark Emperor said, if I wanted to swallow you up, I would have long made a move. How could I possibly wait until now? Dark Emperor, you go and take a look at the Sword of Evil and Xielan they too. Assist them to recover as soon as possible. Leave the matters here to me to settle. Waving his hand, Ningyu indicated for the Dark Emperor to go and take care of the Sword of Evil they all first. Although Wang Song was a peak grade 8 human supreme, with Ningyu's current strength, he did not fear at all. It was just a matter of time for Ningyu to want to kill Wang Song. The reason why Ningyu did not choose to kill Wang Song straight away was entirely because he wanted to know what Wang Song they all came over for, why they came to the Great Xia Kingdom. Recently, more and more powerhouses appeared in the Great Xia Kingdom. And the cultivation of these powerhouses, the majority were high-level human sovereigns. Rising winds and scudding clouds, it was really rising winds and scudding clouds. Shaking his head, Ningyu temporarily tossed aside the thoughts in his mind. He extended 3 fingers towards Wang Song and said, 3 questions. As long as you answer 3 of my questions honestly, I guarantee that I won't kill you. What questions? Wang Song saw the situation before him clearly. Ningyu and the Dark Emperor, he could not afford to provoke them. Under this premise, he could only feign civility and drag the time as much as possible. Towards Fang Guisheng, Wang Song had an almost obsessive trust. Forget about 4 grade 9 human sovereigns encircling Fang Guisheng together, even if 8 or 10 people encircled at the same time, Wang Song would not have the slightest bit of worry either. In the massive alchemy association, the martial artists who knew Fang Guisheng's true strength, apart from him, there was probably no one else. Back then, he saw Fang Guisheng in a forest. At that time, Fang Guisheng was surrounded by 3 powerhouses. 2 peak middle stage grade 9 human sovereigns, 1 late stage grade 9 supreme. But such a powerful lineup was also defeated and killed by Fang Guisheng. Ever since then, Wang Song was even more determined to follow behind Fang Guisheng. Because Fang Guisheng, this person, was too terrifying. With Elder Fang's strength, he will probably win in half an hour. In other words, I only need to delay him for half an hour. Wang Song's eyes swiveled, and he continued, forget about 3 questions, even if it's 10 questions, I'll tell you. Oh! Hearing Wang Song's words, Ningyu's brows rose, and he said, you're quite smart. This isn't a question of being smart or not. When one is under someone else's roof, one has no choice but to lower one's head. Besides, I haven't lived enough yet. At this moment, Wang Song seemed to have seen through something. His tone was calm, without joy or sorrow. Keek, it is much easier to converse with intelligent people. Ningyu let out a smile and said, first question. Why did you come to the Great Xia Kingdom? We want to kill Zuokang, and Zuokang received news from Dong He that a pill puppet appeared in the Great Xia Kingdom. He wants Zuokang to come over and provide assistance. Wang Song said, since Zuokang is coming to the Great Xia Kingdom, we naturally have to follow. Apart from killing Zuokang, what else do you want? Ningyu continued to ask. Find the heaven-swallowing hound. Wang Song didn't have the slightest hesitation as he replied, an upper echelon from the Elixir Completion Continent's Alchemist Union headquarters is injured. He needs to consume an elixir refined by the heaven-swallowing hound to recover. You can say it like this. Our main mission is to find the heaven-swallowing hound. Our secondary mission is to kill Zuokang. This matter about the Dark Emperor being a heaven-swallowing hound, apart from the few of you, is there anyone else who knows? Ningyu asked again. Yes. Wang Song nodded and said, Fang Guisheng had already sent the news back to the Elixir Completion Continent's Alchemist Union. I reckon that after a period of time, someone from the Alchemist Union will come over to receive us. After asking these questions, Ningyu's expression became rather gloomy. Things seemed to be developing in an uncontrollable direction. Fang Guisheng's strength was already heaven-defying enough. He didn't fall into a disadvantageous position even when fighting against 4 by himself. Instead, he even had the upper hand. It was imaginable how formidable the strength of the injured upper echelon that made Fang Guisheng personally come out to find the heaven-swallowing hound. What a headache. Originally, after killing the Saber Mountain Venerable, Ningyu's goal was very clear. Let Empyrean Spirit Void save his father first, then think of a way to go to the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Who could have thought that a Fang Guisheng would charge out halfway, thoroughly messing up his plans? Right now, his father Ning Hai had not completely woken up yet. The matters were all piled up here, giving him a huge headache. Should I make a move or not? Seeing Ningyu's appearance, Wang Song seriously burst forth with a hint of a fierce look. Wang Song was very clear that right now was the best opportunity to make a move and kill Ningyu. Missing this village, there would not be this shop anymore. But Wang Song was also very clear that once he failed, then his outcome would be the same as Zhao Yong, being devoured by the Dark Emperor. Wang Song was very conflicted in his heart. Fight it out. After a short period of musing, Wang Song still made a bold decision. Make a move and kill Ningyu. In order to be able to succeed in one move, Wang Song twined peak tier 8 soul force around his left hand, the essence in his sea of consciousness twining around his right hand. Bang! Bang! 2 punches slammed out. Immediately, 2 streaks of astonishing fist light charged toward Ningyu, one in front and one behind. Kai! The first streak of fist light was completely formed from soul force. In a blink of an eye, it arrived in front of Ningyu. Humph! At the critical moment, Ningyu gave a cold snort, then brought out the red fiend sword that he carried around with him, slashing out with a sword. Shred! The red fiend sword's speed was very fast, directly cleaving Wang Song's soul cold light into 2 halves. Whoosh! At the same time, Wang Song's second streak of fist light already arrived above the top of Ningyu's head, suddenly rumbling down. Universe palm! Ningyu put away the red fiend sword unhurriedly, then pushed out with his right hand horizontally. Accompanied by a low cry sounding out in his mouth, a horrifying palm print stripped out from Ningyu's palm. Smack! 2 palm prints collided. That kind of horrifying aftershock did not appear. Instead, the 2 palm prints both dissipated. What's going on? This kind of change clearly exceeded Wang Song's expectations. Towards the palm print that he displayed, Wang Song was very confident. Now, the palm print that he was proud of was easily blasted apart. How could Wang Song possibly not be shocked? How could he possibly not be dumbfounded? Wang Song, I gave you a chance before. It was you who didn't know how to cherish it. Right at this time, Ningyu's nonchalant words sounded out by Wang Song's ear. Following that, Ningyu's body gradually became illusory. Not good. Ningyu's body had just disappeared when Wang Song realized that things were not good and hurriedly retreated. However, Wang Song's retreat speed was clearly half a beat slower. His footsteps had yet to move in time when Ningyu appeared in front of him. Right hand holding the red fiend sword, he stabbed straight into his heart. Poochie! A large mouthful of dark red fresh blood spewed out. Wang Song lowered his head and looked at a blood-red flying sword stabbed in the area of his heart. His face revealed a look of despair. Your strength, why is it so strong? The moment before death, Wang Song used all the strength in his body to roar out. Secretly telling you, it's not that my strength is strong, but it's that you're stupid, only caring about escaping. If you clash head-on with me, you'll at least have a 10% chance of winning. Chapter 12:22. The situation is critical. Hearing Ningyu's words, Wang Song's eyes opened wide, his face full of regret. Extending his right hand and pointing at Ningyu, Wang Song opened his mouth, wanting to say something. But before the words came out, his body tilted and he fell heavily onto the ground. At this moment, the Peak Grade 8 Alchemy Master from the Alchemy Association headquarters, Peak Grade 8 Human Supreme, Wang Song, died in battle. Whoosh! Where there was delicacies, there was the Dark Emperor. Wang Song had just died when the Dark Emperor flew over from the side. 2 front claws firmly grabbed Wang Song's sword light, tearing through the void and tunneling inside. Ningyu had black lines all over his face. The Dark Emperor's speed was also too fast, right? He had yet to have time to search through Wang Song's body when the Dark Emperor brought Wang Song away. Leave the things on Wang Song for me. Ningyu was indignant. One had to know, Wang Song was the Alchemy Association headquarters Peak Grade 8 Alchemy Master. There were bound to be many good treasures on him. The Dark Emperor had a big mouth, eating people without spitting out the bones. Wang Song landing in his hands, there was an 80% chance that he would be devoured into dregs. Sure enough, roughly 3 minutes later, the Dark Emperor sped over from afar alone. Dark Emperor, can you not be so gluttonous? Seeing that the Dark Emperor did not bring anything back, Ningyu was immediately angered and said, "Just this once, don't do it again. If you dare to be like this again, I guarantee that you can forget about touching any martial artist you encounter in the future. Isn't it just a peak grade 8 human supreme, what's the big deal?" Rolling a glance at Ningyu, the Dark Emperor continued to help the Sword of Evil. Relatively speaking, Xielan's injuries were very light. The Dark Emperor helped her recover to her peak state very quickly. The Sword of Evil's injuries were heavier. Even with the Dark Emperor's help, he would not recover so quickly either. "Let me." Ningyu pulled the Dark Emperor away and placed both his hands on the Sword of Evil's back. An endless stream of vital energy entered the Sword of Evil's body. At the same time, Ningyu sent a portion of his perception into the Sword of Evil's body and began to examine the Sword of Evil's injuries. "Fortunately, my 5 viscera and 6 bowels are not shattered." After examining the Sword of Evil's body, Ningyu heaved a sigh of relief. The Sword of Evil's injuries weren't very serious. Under such circumstances, coupled with his treatment, he believed that he would recover very quickly. The only problem was that even if the Sword of Evil was cured, the Sword of Evil would not be able to return to its peak state in a short period of time. Recuperation. The Sword of Evil would need at least 10 days to fully recover. The two of you. On the other side, Ding Cheng saw that Ningyu was treating the Sword of Evil. He opened his mouth and wanted to say something but hesitated. To be honest, Ding Cheng was still very grateful to Ningyu and the Dark Emperor. If not for Ningyu and the Dark Emperor arriving in time, he, Zhu Da, and the rest would have long been killed by Wang Song and the rest. Now that he saw Ningyu treating the Sword of Evil, Ding Cheng felt that he had to help and could not stand by the side. "Ningyu, they are calling you." As the Sword of Evil's injuries were very special, with Ningyu's help, he was able to speak very quickly. The Sword of Evil understood his own situation very well. As long as he could speak, he could recuperate on his own. There was no need for Ningyu to expend his own vital energy to treat him. Coincidentally, at this time, Ding Cheng and the rest wanted to say something but hesitated. Hence, the Sword of Evil said to Ningyu, "Go take a look. I can handle it myself. Be careful." Ningyu retracted his palm from the Sword of Evil's back and said. After thinking about it, Ningyu still felt worried and said, "Dark Emperor, send the Sword of Evil and Xielan to the royal family and let Ouyang Lun arrange a quiet place for them." Leaving this sentence, regardless of whether the Dark Emperor listened or not, Ningyu got up and walked towards Ding Cheng. How troublesome. As the saying goes, take it easy, eat it easy. The Dark Emperor had devoured Zhao Yong and Wang Song one after another. This was a classic example of eating the shortest of others. Helpless, the Dark Emperor could only obediently bring the Sword of Evil and Xielan to the royal family. As for Ningyu, he had long arrived beside Ding Cheng and said, "What Wang Song said just now, I believe you heard it too. I want to know how many words are trustworthy." Ningyu was not so gullible. No matter how pleasant Wang Song's words were, he would not believe them all. He would only judge based on his understanding of the situation. Almost all of them are correct. Talking with Ningyu, Ding Cheng did not dare to be neglectful and hurriedly said, "We've analyzed it before. The reason why Fang Guosheng they all are following behind us is largely because they want to kill us." "Why didn't they make a move on the way?" Ningyu said doubtfully. With Fang Guosheng's 1 versus 4 combat strength, killing Zhuo Kang and the rest along the way was probably effortless. Why wait until now to make a move? It was a complete waste of time. Maybe they don't want to shed all pretense of cordiality with Profound Moon Continent's Alchemy Union. Thinking about it, Ding Cheng said, "Profound Moon Continent's Alchemy Union's upper echelons know that we're together. Furthermore, we all have positioning crystal balls on us. As long as we're killed along the way, Profound Moon Continent's Alchemy Union's upper echelons will definitely know that it was Fang Guosheng who made a move. But Great Xia Empire is different. The news we received is that a powerful pill puppet appeared in Great Xia Empire. Fang Guosheng made a move here without any restraints. Even if the Alchemy Union's upper echelons pursue the matter, he can also pass this pot to the pill puppet and let the pill puppet take the blame. So that's how it is." Ningyu said, "Since you guys know that Fang Guosheng made a move against you, then why didn't you guys make any countermeasures? Elder Zhuo and Elder Du have countermeasures. Otherwise, do you think that they can persist until now? Ding Cheng said. What do you mean? Ning Yu was a little puzzled as he asked. Fang Guosheng is too strong, ridiculously strong. Sucking in a deep breath, Ding Cheng continued, although Fang Guosheng is only a middle-stage grade 9 alchemy master, his overall strength might surpass ordinary late-stage grade 9 sovereign. Ningyu, the most important thing now is to gather all the high-level human sovereigns in the Great Xia Empire and attack Fang Guosheng together. Zhu Da, who was beside Ding Cheng, said anxiously. Fool. Ding Cheng scolded, Fang Guosheng is a middle-stage grade 9 sovereign. Even if all the high-level human sovereigns in the Great Xia Empire come together, they won't be able to contend against Fang Guosheng. Is that all we can do? Zhu Da gritted his teeth. There is a way, but we have to contact Elder Zhuo and the rest first. Ding Cheng's eyes flickered with uncertainty. He seemed to have made up his mind as he said, I know of a formation that can transfer the energy of the other 7 people to one person. What array? Zhu Da asked doubtfully. There were many arrays that could transfer energy to another person. Zhu Da knew at least 3 to 4 of them. Although those arrays could transfer energy to a single person, most of them had a limit. In other words, the cultivation of the 8 cultivators in the array couldn't exceed grade 5 sovereign. The strongest array could only raise the cultivation of the cultivators in the array to grade 6 sovereign. Arrays of this level were useless to them. Chapter 12:23. Never go back on one's word. The 8 Immortals formation, Ding Cheng said in a low voice. 8 Immortals formation. Ningyu's heart skipped a beat as a horrified expression appeared on his face. He had seen someone use the 8 Immortals formation in his previous life. At that time, 8 pinnacle 9th grade sovereign realm human sovereigns were forced into a cave with an earth sovereign eyeing them from outside. In the end, the 8 pinnacle 9th grade human sovereigns unleashed the 8 Immortals formation, forcibly raising the battle prowess of one of the 9th grade human sovereigns to the earth sovereign realm, and successfully killed the earth sovereign guarding the cave. If they could use the 8 Immortals formation, they might really be able to defeat Fang Guosheng. Something's wrong. Suddenly, Ningyu seemed to think of something and said solemnly, I remember that setting up the 8 Immortals Grand Array requires time and a large number of Emperor-grade origin crystals. Let's not talk about the Emperor-grade origin crystals. Just the problem of time is something we can't solve. Hiss. Ningyu's reaction was beyond Ding Cheng's expectations. Even in the Alchemy Union, not many people knew about the 8 Immortals Great Array. If he had not seen a book in a hidden cave, even he would not have known about the 8 Immortals formation. Based on Ningyu's current state, it was clear that he understood the 8 Immortals formation very well. In fact, he had even used it before. Thinking of this, Ding Cheng said, My 8 Immortals formation doesn't need time. I've already set it up. As he spoke, Ding Cheng took out a scroll from his bosom and waved it around. Sealed within this scroll is the 8 Immortals formation. A sealed 8 Immortals formation? Ningyu was a little suspicious. He had heard of the 8 Immortals formation and had seen people use it. However, he had never seen the 8 Immortals Grand Array sealed in the scroll. What do you want to do? Ningyu asked. Ding Cheng did not answer Ningyu. Instead, he flicked his wrist and tossed the scroll to Ningyu. Pa. Grabbing the scroll, Ningyu asked curiously, What does this mean? You are the strongest here. Naturally, I will leave the 8 Immortals formation to you. Ding Cheng said matter-of-factly, We'll do whatever you want us to do. We won't hesitate. Shio. Just as Ding Cheng finished speaking, the void suddenly split open. Then, a cultivator flew out from the void. Dan Guzi. Ningyu reacted quickly. When the cultivator flew out, his figure flashed and he caught him firmly. Poochie. At this time, Dan Guzi was pale, and he coughed up a mouthful of blood. His aura instantly dropped to a freezing point. Not good. Although Ningyu didn't know that Dan Guzi had used the art of bloodlust, he was well aware of the condition of Dan Guzi's body. Dan Guzi's situation was extremely bad. It could be said that if he wasn't treated in time, Dan Guzi might very well lose his life. Ningyu didn't care about the consequences. He immediately sent a wisp of his spiritual strength into Dan Guze's body to heal him. 10 seconds later, Dan Guze's condition improved a little. His aura had just stabilized when Dan Guze used all the strength in his body to say, "Ningyu, hurry and leave. If you don't leave now, it'll be too late. Leave." "Go where?" Suddenly, a calm voice rang out from the void. Crack. Then, the void shattered, and Fang Guosheng appeared in front of Ningyu and the others. At this time, Fang Guosheng was floating in the air, like a god of war. "Today, all of you must die." As he spoke, Fang Guosheng sent out 3 palm prints. Bang bang bang. 3 crisp sounds rang out. Sage Spiritual Shu, Zuokang, and Du Qiong were thrown out of the void and fell to the ground at the same time. This change caused Ningyu's heart to sink to the bottom. Even someone as strong as Sage Spiritual Shu had been defeated by Fang Guosheng. One could imagine that even if he used the 8 Immortals formation, he definitely wouldn't be able to contend against Fang Guosheng. Ever since his rebirth, Ningyu had never felt such despair. This kind of despair was incomprehensible to ordinary people. "No, I can't die." With a shudder, Ningyu dispelled the dispirited thoughts in his mind. He stomped his feet on the ground and charged out. Surrendering before a fight was not Ningyu's style. He would rather die in battle than live a fake life. Dashing out, Ningyu wielded the red demon sword and slashed in the air 10,000 holy flag. Since he had decided to fight Fang Guosheng to the death, Ningyu decided to throw caution to the wind. After he sent out a sword gleam, he sent out the 10,000 holy flag. From the left and right, the sword gleam and the 10,000 holy flag attacked Fang Guosheng. Whoosh! On the ground, Sage Spiritual Shu and the others shifted their gaze to Ningyu. Although the chances were slim, they still had a glimmer of hope. The reason why they had a glimmer of hope was because Fang Guosheng was ridiculously strong. They understood the principle that things would decline when they reached an extreme. They firmly believed that Fang Guosheng must have used some kind of secret technique to defeat them so quickly. Perhaps Ningyu could really defeat Fang Guosheng? There was always hope. Without hope, what was the difference between him and a salted fish? Crack. Bang. However, what happened next completely shattered the hopes of Sage Spiritual Shu and the others. With a crisp sound, Ningyu's sword gleam shattered. The 10,000 holy flag was also sent flying to the other side by Fang Guosheng's slap. Through these 2 moves, Sage Spiritual Shu and the others concluded that Fang Guosheng did not use any secret technique. The reason why Fang Guosheng could defeat them was because he was truly strong. "It's over. I didn't expect to fall in the Great Xia Kingdom." Zuokang shook his head and murmured as he looked at Ningyu, who was making his final effort in the air. "Sigh, we were too stupid and underestimated Fang Guosheng," Du Qiong said with a sigh. "Watch out, Ningyu." At this crucial moment, there was a sudden change. The Dark Emperor suddenly tore space apart and his body grew several times bigger. The purplish golden wings on his back flapped rapidly, sending a powerful gale towards Fang Guosheng. "You're shameless." Fang Guosheng initially wanted to kill Ningyu. But when he saw the Dark Emperor coming over, he immediately gave up on killing Ningyu and turned to deal with the Dark Emperor. Crack. Crack. Fang Guosheng's attack was ruthless as he twisted his hands and broke the Dark Emperor's wings. Since he was going to use the Dark Emperor to refine elixirs, there was no difference between a dead or alive one. After breaking the Dark Emperor's wings, Fang Guosheng threw it to the side and said to Ningyu, "Ningyu, I never expected an ordinary 3rd-grade sovereign like you to have so many treasures on you. It looks like the force behind you isn't weak. How about we make a deal?" Fang Guosheng said. "You want to make a deal with me?" Ningyu's heart trembled as his eyes rolled, trying to figure out Fang Guosheng's intentions. Soon, Ningyu thought of the crux of the matter. The 8 Immortals formation. Fang Guosheng must know that the 8 Immortals formation was sealed in the scroll. He was afraid that Ningyu would destroy the scroll, so he wanted to snatch the scroll before killing Ningyu. "Throw the scroll in your hand over, and I can swear a heavenly oath that I won't kill you." Indeed, Ningyu's guess was right. Chapter 1224. A mysterious old man. Never go back on my word. Ning Yu looked at Fang Guosheng suspiciously, his face full of distrust. Ning Yu knew Fang Guosheng's character very well. Even if he handed over the scroll, Fang Guosheng would definitely kill him. However, Fang Guosheng would not let the matter rest if he did not hand over the scroll. Ning Yu was caught in a dilemma. There's a limit to my patience. Seeing Ning Yu's hesitation, Fang Guosheng said in a low voice, I'll give you 3 more seconds. If you don't hand over the scroll, I promise I'll make sure you die a horrible death. 1. Fang Guosheng extended a finger and cooperated. 2. Then, Fang Guosheng continued. 3. When he said 3, Ning Yu gritted his teeth. Fine, I promise you. Hihi, that's more like it. Hand over the scroll. I, Fang Guosheng, am a man of my word. With a faint smile, Fang Guosheng repeated what he said earlier. Swoosh. Ning Yu knew that dragging it out wouldn't do, so he used all his strength to throw the scroll into the sky. At the same time, Ning Yu shouted, Go, everyone, run, whoosh. At that moment, Supremacy Spiritual Shu and the rest finally understood Ning Yu's plan. Regardless of the consequences, all of them exerted all their strength and ran as fast as they could into the distance. Smack. However, Supremacy Spiritual Shu and the rest did not run far before they came to an abrupt stop. Because an old man had appeared before them. On the surface, the old man looked sloppy and ordinary, but Supremacy Spiritual Shu and the rest were all shrewd people, so they naturally noticed something special about him. The old man's strength was even stronger than Fang Guosheng's. Without knowing if the old man was friend or foe, Supremacy Spiritual Shu and the rest did not dare to leave. 8 Immortals Formation. Good stuff. The old man's gaze swept across Supremacy Spiritual Shu and the rest before landing on Ning Yu. Without beating around the bush, the old man said, Hand it over. Boom. The old man's words caused confusion to appear on the faces of Venerable Spirit Shu and the others. Didn't Ning Yu throw the scroll into the sky? Why would the old man say such a thing? Damn it. At this moment, Fang Guosheng angrily descended from the sky. After cursing out loud, Fang Guosheng yelled at Ning Yu, How dare you make fun of me, there's no one in this world. Who? Fang Guosheng stopped abruptly halfway through his reprimand. Fang Guosheng discovered the old man and realized how strong the old man was. It could be said that the elder's strength was something that even Fang Guosheng felt was troublesome to deal with. Let me introduce myself. I'm from Emperor Divine Palace. The old man was very frank. You can call me Di Bo Emperor Divine Palace. Fang Guosheng felt a chill in his heart, and his face became a little ugly. The Emperor Divine Palace was a sect in the mystic moon continent, and it was an overlord sect. Even if he was a senior executive of the Alchemist Union headquarters, he could not behave atrociously in someone else's territory. Although he knew that Di Bo was powerful, for the sake of the 8 Immortals formation, Fang Guosheng bit the bullet and said, Since you're an expert from Emperor Divine Palace, you must know the principle of first come, first served. The scroll on Ning Yu should belong to me. Ning Yu belongs to Emperor Divine Palace. What right do you have to say that the scroll on him belongs to you? Di Bo curled his lips in disdain. You'd better leave as soon as possible before I lose my temper. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what will happen. You're threatening me. Fang Guosheng was so angry that his teeth turned green. He was originally the absolute overlord of this area, but who would have thought that an even more powerful old man would appear out of nowhere and take away the overlord position that belonged to him? This made him very angry. If you really want to think that way, just take it as a threat. Di Bo obviously did not take Fang Guosheng seriously. He shrugged and said, Go away. Emperor Divine Palace and Ning Yu have irreconcilable hatred, so I have to bring Ning Yu back to Emperor Divine Palace. I'll leave Ning Yu to you, and leave the scroll to me. Fang Guosheng was still struggling for the last time. The 8 Immortals formation was too rare, especially the 8 Immortals formation that was sealed in a scroll. Therefore, Fang Guosheng did not want to give up. You're not qualified to negotiate with me. If you know what's good for you, get lost. Don't force me to take action. Di Bo's eyes gradually turned cold. Fang Guosheng had disobeyed him again and again, which made him very angry. What should I do? Fang Guosheng's eyes darted around, trying to think of a solution. The current situation was indeed very disadvantageous to him. With Di Bo's appearance, it would be very difficult for him to kill Ningyu, let alone get the scroll. Regret. Fang Guosheng was very regretful at this moment. If he had known this would happen, he would not have wasted his time talking to Ningyu. He would have killed Ningyu as soon as possible. Wouldn't that be great? But now, not only was he unable to kill Ningyu, but he had also lost the scroll that he was about to get. Why don't I fight him? Suddenly, an idea popped into Fang Guosheng's mind. Even Fang Guosheng himself was shocked when he thought of this. Although he was frightened, Fang Guosheng couldn't get rid of this thought in his mind, and it kept lingering in his mind. Di Bo, why don't you and I have a fight? The scroll belongs to the winner. The thought of fighting Di Bo grew stronger and stronger. It had become a knot in Fang Guosheng's heart. He had to fight Di Bo no matter what. Otherwise, he would definitely encounter inner demons when he advanced to the advanced stage 9 Supreme Martial Artist. You want to fight me? Di Bo raised his eyebrows and said, "You're no match for me. I advise you to get lost. Once I fight, someone will definitely be injured, or," at this point, Di Bo paused for a moment before he said, "death." As soon as the word die was uttered, Di Bo stomped on the ground and dashed out. Whoosh! Di Bo was so fast that before Fang Guosheng could react, he had already appeared beside Fang Guosheng. Not good. At this critical moment, Fang Guosheng gave a loud roar and poured all the Yuan Qi in his knowledge sea into his fist. With a backhand punch, he met Di Bo's fist head-on. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two fists collided and the two figures were sent flying. This hurried move caused Fang Guosheng's expression to darken completely. He was no match for Di Bo in terms of strength. He was clearly at a disadvantage in this punch. Don't force me to kill you. Di Bo's eyes were cold as he said in a deep voice. Humph. You and I are both peak stage 9 Supreme Martial Artists. It won't be easy to kill me. Fang Guosheng snorted and said, apart from being a peak stage 9 Supreme Martial Artist, I have another identity. I'm an alchemist. So what if you're an alchemist? I'll kill you all the same. Di Bo was furious. He was furious that Fang Guosheng had gone against him time and time again. In this world, there was no lack of people who would court death. In Di Bo's opinion, Fang Guosheng was one of them. Hee hee. All of a sudden, Fang Guosheng laughed. His laughter was a little arrogant. Chapter 1225. Evil Dragon Valley, you want to use a soul attack on me? Di Bo's jaw dropped as if he had heard something he couldn't believe. Don't you know that soul attack spells aren't omnipotent? Martial artists with strong perception can even easily break through soul attack spells. Of course I know that. But I don't believe you can break through soul attack. Fang Guosheng growled and waved his hands. Swoosh. In a split second, a ray of cold light rushed towards Di Bo at an alarming speed. Soul attack. Next to him, Ningyu's face darkened. Fang Guosheng's soul attack was something even he was not sure he could block. A soul attack performed by a peak 8th tier soul force is indeed powerful. Ningyu made up his mind. As long as this crisis was over, he would work hard to cultivate his soul force. Ningyu's soul force was at early 8th tier soul force. Although it was far stronger than his peers, it was still lacking compared to a veteran like Fang Guosheng. Fang Guosheng, today I will let you know that there are some people you can never mess with. Di Bo's face was expressionless as he watched the cold light of the soul attack approach him. He spoke indifferently. Swoosh. The moment the voice rang out, Di Bo took out a silvery white flying sword. Crack. He swung the sword. He raised his hand and the sword fell. The soul attack was cut in half and scattered on the ground. What? When Fang Guosheng saw that his soul attack had been broken by Di Bo's sword, his expression finally changed, and he revealed a horrified expression. That was a soul attack. What kind of powerful being was Di Bo to be able to break it in one move? If Di Bo was also an alchemist, Fang Guosheng would not be surprised. But Di Bo's soul force was not strong. Di Bo's soul attack was broken by his senses alone. He had to admit that Di Bo was indeed powerful. I gave you face but you don't want it. Being provoked by Fang Guosheng, Di Bo was enraged. Di Bo, who was in a berserk state, quickly dashed out and punched Fang Guosheng's chest repeatedly. In just a few moments, Fang Guosheng's chest had been blasted into tatters, and not a single patch of skin was left intact. Thump! Raising his right leg, Di Bo kicked Fang Guosheng far away, causing him to fall heavily on the ground. Catcher! The bluestone pavement was smashed by Fang Guosheng, and the cracks spread in all directions. You overestimate yourself. Glancing at the half-dead Fang Guosheng, Di Bo turned to Ningyu and said, "Hand over the scroll and follow me to the Emperor Palace." Do I have a choice? Ningyu still wanted to make a final struggle. Why do you have so much to say? Di Bo was getting impatient. He stomped on the ground and instantly appeared in front of Ningyu. A punch landed on Ningyu's chest, forcing Ningyu to take several steps back. Looking over, one could see a scroll lying flat in Di Bo's hand. It really is the 8 Immortals formation. Very good. After taking a closer look at the scroll, Di Bo grabbed Ningyu. After thinking for a moment, he knocked out the Dark Emperor and tore through the void, disappearing without a trace. Seeing Ningyu disappear, Sage Spiritual Shu and the others had their mouths agape, dumbfounded. Taken away. Ningyu was taken away under their noses. Everything happened too quickly, so Sage Spiritual Shu and the others couldn't react for a long time. Sage Spiritual Shu and the others wanted to help Ningyu, but they didn't have the strength to do so. After the battle, all of them were heavily injured and urgently needed to recuperate. Sword of Evil. Although the Sword of Evil's aura was weak, he still dragged his feet and flew out of the capital. Where are you going? Sage Spiritual Shu called out to the Sword of Evil. I'm going to help Ningyu, the Sword of Evil said through gritted teeth. How are you going to help him? Don't worry, I can guarantee that Ningyu's life won't be in danger for the time being. Sage Spiritual Shu said in a low voice. Won't be in danger? Do you know what we did? We killed the genius martial artist of Emperor Palace, Die. The Sword of Evil said. The Sword of Evil seemed to be narrating a very ordinary matter. What? The speaker didn't mean anything, but the listener did. Reverend Lingshu was extremely shocked. Die was the genius of Emperor Palace. Just how capable was Ningyu to be able to kill Die? This is going to be troublesome. Sage Spiritual Shu's heart sank to the bottom. Initially, Supremacy Spiritual Shu had thought that the Emperor God Palace wouldn't kill Ningyu so easily with the existence of a colossus like the Sovereign Nine Purities Palace. Now, it seemed like he was wrong. Very wrong. Based on the fact that Ningyu had killed Die, Emperor Palace would never let Ningyu off. Sword of Evil, you won't be able to help Ningyu even if you go now. Why don't you get rid of Fang Guosheng first and use the elixirs on him to recover to peak condition as soon as possible? Then, we'll go look for Ningyu together. Sage Spiritual Shu was very clear. Instead of looking for Ningyu now, it was better to wait until he recovered to peak condition. That would save them a lot of trouble. Alright. The Sword of Evil wasn't stupid. Sage Spiritual Shu was very clear, and so was he. The reason why he wanted to help Ningyu just now was because of an impulsive reaction. Now that he thought about it, he indeed needed to recover to peak condition before he could help Ningyu. Otherwise, he would be a burden and would be killed instantly by Emperor Palace. After everyone came to an agreement, Fang Guosheng was in trouble. What are you guys doing? Don't come over. Fang Guosheng regretted it so much that his intestines were turning green. If he had known this would happen, he definitely wouldn't have fought with Di Bo. Now, not only had he fallen from the clouds to the bottom of the valley, but his life was also in danger. With the current state and anger of the Sword of Evil and the others, it was only a matter of time before he was killed. Shosho. Ningyu had no idea what happened after that. After leaving the capital, Di Bo brought him forward quickly. After flying at full speed for a few hours, Di Bo finally stopped in front of a valley. What is this place? Staring at the narrow valley entrance, Ningyu was puzzled. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. After glaring at Ningyu, Di Bo led Ningyu into the valley. Swoosh, swoosh. As soon as Ning Yu and the others entered the valley, two figures suddenly appeared and blocked their way. Tell the master of Evil Dragon Valley that someone is here. Obviously, this was not Di Bo's first time here. He said lightly. Buzz buzz. Di Bo's words were effective. The two figures melted into the void and disappeared. Not long after, a short and stout old man staggered out from the depths of the valley. I can't believe it. Ning Yu couldn't help but curse when he saw the short and fat old man. His eyes widened. The reason why Ning Yu was surprised was not because the short and fat old man's cultivation was high, but because the short and fat old man's cultivation was too low. Terrifyingly low. Chapter 12:26. A short and fat old man. Di Bo, what good stuff have you brought for the Valley Master this time? The short and fat old man seemed to know Di Bo as he spoke before he even reached Di Bo. I've brought. Di Bo waved the Dark Emperor in his hand. Sky Devourer Hound. Before Di Bo could finish his sentence, the short and fat old man yelled, You finally brought something useful. Give it to me. As he spoke, the short and fat old man reached out his chubby palm to grab the Dark Emperor. Swoosh. How could Di Bo allow the Dark Emperor to be taken away? He dodged the short and fat old man's palm. I want to see the Evil Dragon Valley Master. Before that, I will not hand the Sky Devourer Hound over to you. Di Bo said calmly. There's so much nonsense there. The short and fat old man was clearly enraged. He stomped on the ground and charged forward. Although the short and fat old man looked small, he was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Di Bo Kai Kai. A faint green flame appeared on his palm as the short and fat old man roared and grabbed at Di Bo. What? Thousand Beasts Flame. Seeing the faint green flame in the short and fat old man's hand, Ning Yu's eyes narrowed and he was extremely shocked. The Thousand Beasts Flame was ranked 30th on the Mystical Flames ranking. Any flame that could enter the top 100 of the Mystical Flames ranking was extremely overbearing and difficult to tame. The short and fat old man was only a mortal. How could he tame the 30th ranked flame, the Thousand Beasts Flame? No, it's not the actual Thousand Beasts Flame, it's a derivative. Suddenly, Ning Yu's shocked expression eased a little. This was because Ning Yu realized that the faint green flame on the short and fat old man's palm was not the actual Thousand Beasts Flame, but a derivative. Even so, Ning Yu was still shocked. Even the derivative flame was hundreds of times stronger than his indigo spiritual fire. Stand down. Seeing that the short and fat old man was about to fight with Di Bo, a calm voice came from the void. Although the voice was calm, it was not angry and had an unquestionable tone. Boring. Hearing this voice, the short and fat old man curled his lips, then turned around and walked towards the depths of the valley. Evil Dragon Valley Master, why didn't you show yourself? Di Bo said with a solemn expression. Purple Gold Sky Devouring Hound, this is the 10th treasure you brought. I will definitely fulfill my promise to you. Go to the guest room and wait for a while. Once I'm done with the matters at hand, I'll come see you immediately. The voice dissipated, and everything returned to normal. Di Bo did not stay for long. He dragged Ning Yu with one hand and leaned on the Dark Emperor with the other, walking towards the guest room with ease. Creak. The heavy stone door was pushed open, and Di Bo entered the room. Casually throwing Ning Yu and the Dark Emperor to the side, Di Bo sat on the chair and fell into a strange state. What kind of deal did Di Bo make with this so-called Evil Dragon Valley Master? Ning Yu slightly released his perception, first stopping on Di Bo's body for a while, and then began to size up the secret room. Although it was called a secret room, it was actually just a room that wasn't too big. The structure of the room was simple. There was only a chair, a table, and nothing else. Kid, do you want to know what kind of deal Di Bo made with the Evil Dragon Valley Master? Throw that black dog out, and I can tell you. At this moment, an ethereal voice rang in Ning Yu's ears. The ethereal voice that rang in his ears caused Ning Yu's pupils to shrink. This voice was too illusory, and even he didn't notice any clues. Who is it? Ning Yu asked in a deep voice. I'm that tall, handsome person you saw just now. The ethereal voice said unceasingly. Clearly, This was a narcissistic person. Tall, handsome, and handsome. Ning Yu was a little confused. He subconsciously said, "Just now, I only saw a short and fat old man trying to snatch the Dark Emperor from Di Bo. However, he was chased away by the evil Dragon Valley Master." Outside the room, the short and fat martial artist's face was filled with black lines. Although the short and fat martial artist was ugly, he had dreams. Wasn't it said that people with dreams were the most handsome? Moreover, in the evil dragon clan, his height and build were indeed worthy of the word handsome. Don't worry about anything else. Just remember, as long as you throw that black dog out, I will let you go. The short and fat old man began to tempt him, using both the carrot and the stick. Let me give you a friendly reminder. In the past, Di Bo came to Evil Dragon Valley a total of 9 times. He brought martial artists, magical treasures, elixirs, fruits, and a series of other things. Without exception, all of those things were taken by the Valley Master. What kind of deal did Di Bo make with the evil Dragon Valley Master? Ning Yu felt that the short and fat old man knew something. In fact, Ning Yu knew very well that the person speaking outside the room was the short and fat old man. Ning Yu was not a fool. How could he not know? It's simple. Di Bo brought 10 good things, and the evil Dragon Valley Master helped him to raise his cultivation to the advanced 9th grade supreme martial artist. The short and fat old man shrugged and said, "What?" The speaker did not mean anything, but the listener did. Ning Yu's face was full of shock. If the evil Dragon Valley Master could help Di Bo to advance to the advanced 9th grade supreme martial artist, didn't that mean that the evil Dragon Valley Master's cultivation far surpassed that of a supreme martial artist? He might even have reached the terrifying Earth supreme martial artist realm. Ning Yu almost despaired. With his current strength, he could not even fight against an intermediate 9th grade supreme martial artist, let alone an Earth supreme martial artist. What's the big deal? Isn't it just an advanced 9th grade supreme martial artist? As long as you throw that black dog out, I can also help you advance to the advanced 9th grade supreme martial artist realm. The short and fat old man began to boast, displaying the great deception technique. Oh, right. Can't Di Bo hear our conversation? Although Di Bo was in a strange state, Ning Yu was still very worried. What are you afraid of? With me here, not only Di Bo can't hear our conversation, but even the evil Valley Master can't hear it. The short and fat old man said proudly. That short and fat old man seems to have a grudge against the evil Dragon Valley Master. Ning Yu's sharp senses had deduced some clues from the short and fat old man's words. The short and fat old man most likely had a grudge against the evil Dragon Valley Master. Even if there was no grudge, he would definitely not like the evil Dragon Valley Master. Maybe I can find a breakthrough from the short and fat old man. Thinking of this, Ning Yu said calmly, I would like to throw the black dog to you, but with Di Bo beside me, I dare not act rashly. After saying this, Ning Yu said no more, quietly waiting for the short and fat old man's reply. The short and fat old man was silent for a while. After a while, the short and fat old man said, "Stop breathing first. I will inject a special gas into the room. As long as Di Bo swallows it, he will fall into a deep sleep, and then you can throw the black dog out." I still can't. Ning Yu shook his head. What now? The short and fat old man was almost going crazy. Because I can't break the door of the secret room. Chapter 12:27. A strategy that's easy. Once Di Bo falls asleep, a whirlpool will appear in front of you. All you need to do is toss that black dog into the whirlpool. The short elder answered. That easy? Ning Yu asked suspiciously. Of course. Don't worry, I'll do it. The short elder said proudly. Still not enough. Ning Yu said after a moment of silence. I want to kill Di Bo. When the old man heard Ning Yu's words, he couldn't wait to rush forward and kill him. However, for the sake of the Dark Emperor, he had to suppress his anger and asked patiently, what is it now? I want to go out too. Ning Yu voiced his thoughts. This was the best chance to escape. If he missed this opportunity, Ning Yu did not want to miss it. Moreover, The short elder was weaker. If he stayed with him, Ningyu would have a chance to escape. Whether it was the evil Dragon Valley Master or Bo, Ningyu could not fight against them. No. This is not negotiable. The short elder rejected flatly. What a joke. The evil Dragon Valley Master hated it when others touched his things. If the evil Dragon Valley Master knew about this, the consequences would be unimaginable. Forget it. Just leave. I thought there was someone who was not afraid of the evil Dragon Valley Master's power. Who would have thought I would meet a coward like you? Ningyu purposely provoked the short elder. Who are you calling a coward? Sure enough, Ningyu's goading worked to a certain extent. As soon as he finished speaking, the short elder shouted, "Although I am no match for the evil Dragon Valley Master in martial arts, I am miles ahead of him in alchemy. I am talking about you." Ningyu ignored the second half of the short elder's words and said disdainfully, "The Dark Emperor and I are only imprisoned by Bo. We are not the evil Dragon Valley Master yet. You don't even dare to provoke Bo, let alone the evil Dragon Valley Master. You. I am so angry." The short and stout elder was so angry that his whole body was trembling. What he hated the most was being compared to the evil Dragon Valley Master. Due to various reasons, he was unable to cultivate the martial way, but his attainments in alchemy were extremely heaven-defying. The evil Dragon Valley Master was the exact opposite. The evil Dragon Valley Master's martial prowess was formidable, but his alchemy attainments were frighteningly low. Hurry up and leave. When the evil Dragon Valley Master arrives, you will definitely suffer. Ningyu continued to provoke him, hoping that it would play a crucial role. Outside the secret chamber, there was another period of silence. What's going on? Could it be that he had used too much provocation? That short and fat old man really left. Ningyu frowned and murmured, "If I had known, I wouldn't have provoked him so much." Ningyu felt a little regretful. The short and stout old man was the only way for him to leave this damned place. If the short and stout old man left, he would have to face endless disasters. "All right. I promise you." After a few more minutes, just as Ningyu was about to be disappointed, a cold voice rang in his mind. The short and stout old man. After a few minutes of contemplation, the short and stout old man finally made up his mind to take the risk and bring Ningyu and the black dog away. If worst comes to worst, he would leave the evil Dragon Valley first. As long as he used the sky-devouring hound to refine elixirs, his martial prowess would definitely soar. Coupled with his alchemy attainments, it was only a matter of time before his cultivation reached a high-level human supreme. Hold your breath. Later, you and the black dog will enter the whirlpool together. The short and stout old man was not an indecisive person. Since he had already made his decision, he would definitely carry it out. With a low grunt, the short and stout old man flicked his sleeves. In a split second, a stream of gas passed through the secret chamber's door and headed straight for Bo. Bo was indeed a peak mid-stage 9th grade human supreme. As soon as the gas entered the secret chamber, he opened his eyes and bellowed, "Which scoundrel is it? Show yourself at once." Ah. When Bo opened his mouth, something unexpected happened. Another stream of gas passed through the secret chamber's door and entered his mouth when he was unprepared. Hot. Bo's first impression was that it was hot, and the second was that it was extremely hot. The heat made Bo feel like he was about to go crazy. Bo's combat strength has dropped. I might as well kill him first. With a cold glint in his eyes, Ningyu immediately drew out the red demon sword and slashed at Bo. You would definitely seize such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Buzz. However, just as Ningyu took half a step forward, a whirlpool appeared in front of him. Along with the whirlpool, the short and stout old man's anxious voice sounded. "You only have 1 second. Hurry up and bring the black dog into the whirlpool." The short and stout old man's voice was filled with anxiety as he urged. "In 1 second, the whirlpool will shatter. Why didn't you say so earlier?" Ningyu, who was in the midst of running, cursed when he heard the short and stout old man's anxious words. 1 second was not enough for him to kill Bo. Although Bo was affected by the gas, he still had the combat strength of a 9th grade human supreme. "You lucked out. After glaring at Dibo helplessly, Ningyu grabbed the Dark Emperor and disappeared into the whirlpool. Whoosh! Everything ended as quickly as it came. However, if Ningyu was here, he would definitely notice that Dibo's reaction was a little unusual. There was no anger on Dibo's face. In fact, Dibo's lips even curled up, as if he was relieved of a heavy burden. Crack! Not long after, the space in the secret chamber cracked open again, and an old man who was even shorter and fatter than the short and stout old man appeared. Evil Dragon Valley Master, I've followed your instructions. Seeing the sudden appearance of the old man, Dibo said respectfully, you promised me that as long as I followed your instructions, you would help me advance to the late-stage 9th grade Human Supreme. Don't worry. Once the elixir is refined, I'll immediately fulfill my promise. When will the short and stout old man be able to refine the elixir? Dibo asked, feeling a little uneasy. I am not too certain about the details. However, I believe that with his pill refinement level, it is likely that he will be able to refine a medicinal pill using the heaven-swallowing dog in 3 days at the very least and 1 day at the very fastest. The Evil Dragon Valley's chief shook his head and said, I've brought back the purple-golden sky-devouring hound. I want 2 elixirs when the elixir is ready. Dibo said. Hihi, 2 it is. With his alchemy skills, he can at least refine 10 elixirs in 1 cauldron. What's the harm in giving you 2? The Evil Dragon Valley Master said with a smile. Achoo. At the same time, in a forest to the west of the Evil Dragon Valley, the short and stout old man sneezed and said, Kid, stop here. I'm going to start refining elixirs. Refining elixirs? Here. Ningyu was dumbfounded. Even refining elixirs required a quiet place. This place was surrounded by trees and beasts. To think that the short and stout old man would think of refining elixirs here. Dong. Without replying to Ningyu, the short and stout old man stomped his right foot on the ground. Rumble. Chapter 1228. Chapter 1228, Heart of 10,000 Beasts. Ningyu was in a daze as he stared at the ground that had suddenly caved in. No wonder the old man had wanted to stop here. He had been prepared for this. Let's go. Just as Ningyu was in a daze, the old man grabbed Ningyu with one hand and the Dark Emperor with the other before leaping into the crack in the ground. Rumble. As soon as the old man and the others entered the ground, the crack closed up and everything returned to normal. Underground, Ningyu stood in front of the huge palace with his mouth agape. His face was filled with disbelief. What shocked Ningyu was not the palace, but the 2 huge stone pillars on both sides of the palace. At the top of each pillar, there was a ball of fire burning. 10,000 beasts flame. These 2 green flames were similar to the flames on the old man's body. They were all derivatives of the 10,000 beasts flame. Although they were only derivatives of the 10,000 beasts flame, they were more powerful than most flames. It could be said that the flames ranked after 100 on the Mystic Flames list were not as powerful as these 2 10,000 beasts flame derivatives. You want them? The short and fat old man noticed Ningyu's actions and said calmly. As long as you help me with one thing, I will give you these 2 10,000 beasts flame derivatives. What is it? Ningyu did not agree to the old man's request immediately. Help me get the real 10,000 beasts flame. After saying that, the old man pushed open the door of the palace and strode in. Thump. Hearing the old man's words, Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. The real 10,000 beasts flame, each of the top 30 flames on the Mystic Flames list, was extremely terrifying. Under normal circumstances, with the old man's strength, there was no way he could come into contact with the 10,000 beasts flame. Could it be? At this thought, Ningyu's face heated up. In his previous life, Ningyu had investigated the flames on the Mystic Flames list and found that some of them were extremely unique. After a certain period of time, they would enter a period of weakness. And this period of weakness was the best time to capture them. Think of a way to get the myriad beasts flame. Clenching his fists tightly, Ningyu made up his mind to obtain the 10,000 beasts flame no matter what. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu followed the stumpy old man into the palace. F***ck. As soon as he entered the palace, Ningyu was dumbfounded. The palace was as empty as a field. No, to be precise, there were only two things in the palace. A huge pill furnace floated in midair. Beside the pill furnace was a green flame. Because it was burning too fiercely, it emitted crackling sounds. Ningyu's gaze was fixated on the huge pill furnace. The green flame was naturally the 10,000 beasts flame. As for the gigantic cauldron, it was ranked 30th on the heavenly cauldron list, the Nihility cauldron. Since his rebirth, Ningyu had never seen the top 100 of the exotic flame list or the top 100 of the pill furnace list. Who would have thought that in just a few hours, he would see the 10,000 beasts flame, as well as the Nihility pill furnace? Come here! Just as Ningyu was in a daze, the stumpy old man shouted. Swoosh! As the stumpy old man's voice rang out, the Nihility pill furnace shrank and landed on the stumpy old man's right palm. Nihility pill furnace, purple gold sky devouring hound, large amounts of medicinal ingredients. The stumpy old man gently stroked the Nihility pill furnace and said, as long as I can obtain the real 10,000 beasts flame, I can refine an extremely overbearing elixir. Kid, I just said that if you help me obtain the 10,000 beasts flame, I will give you the derivative outside. The corners of the stumpy old man's mouth curled up. Now, your chance is here. What chance? Ningyu asked calmly. To be honest, even if the stumpy old man did not emit any yuan qi, Ningyu would not have dared to attack him. Because Ningyu could not find any flaws in the stumpy old man. An alchemist without any fluctuation of true qi actually had no flaws on his body, which was enough to show how terrifying he was. A good chance. The stumpy old man dragged the Nihility pill furnace with his right hand and threw it. Swoosh! The Nihility pill furnace turned into a blur and shot straight at the 10,000 beasts flame. Roar! When the Nihility pill furnace collided with the 10,000 beasts flame, an earth-shattering roar came from within. Roar, roar, roar. After the first roar, a second, a third, several roars rang out in unison. For a moment, the entire palace shook from the roars. The roars did not affect the stumpy old man. On the contrary, he was overjoyed and said to Ningyu, go and retrieve the 10,000 beasts flame core from within the 10,000 beasts flame. There was only one way to completely control the 10,000 beasts flame, and that was to swallow the 10,000 beasts flame core. Whoever swallowed the 10,000 beasts flame core would be able to control the 10,000 beasts flame. All right. Ningyu did not care about the consequences. He leaped into the air and dashed toward the 10,000 beasts flame. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Ningyu must seize it. I must swallow the 10,000 beasts flame core. Although he did not know why the stumpy old man would ask him to retrieve the 10,000 beasts flame core, Ningyu could not care less at this point in time. Swallow the 10,000 beasts flame core and control the 10,000 beasts flame. Once he gained control of the 10,000 beasts flame, he would stand a good chance of contending against the stumpy old man. From the way the stumpy old man threw the Nihility pill furnace, Ningyu could roughly estimate the old man's battle prowess. Powerful. Extremely powerful. It was not that the stumpy old man did not have any yuan qi in his body, but it was sealed. Relying on the strength of his 9th grade soul force, the stumpy old man's mastery of soul attack spells had already reached the pinnacle. Ningyu speculated that if he wanted to defeat the stumpy old man, he would have to cultivate the netherworld samsara palm to the 10th form. This method was obviously not feasible. Roar. At this moment, Ningyu had already arrived in front of the 10,000 beasts flame. A giant beast formed from flames roared and attacked Ningyu. Slash. With the red demon sword in hand, Ningyu slashed down from the sky. With one slash, the giant beast formed from flames was split into two, and Ningyu desperately tried to enter the 10,000 beasts flame. Roar. 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 The 10,000 beasts flame had a strong sense of self-preservation. How could it tolerate a mere third-grade human supreme behaving atrociously in front of it? Another 3 giant beasts formed from flames rushed out and engaged in a fierce battle with Ningyu. Comparatively speaking, these 3 giant beasts were much stronger. After a full 3 minutes, Ningyu finally defeated all of them. Kid, hurry up and enter the 10,000 beasts flame and retrieve the 10,000 beasts flame core. Otherwise, I will kill this purple-gold sky-devouring hound. The stumpy old man started to panic and started to threaten Ningyu with the Dark Emperor. Originally, the stumpy old man thought that Ningyu was just an ordinary third-grade human supreme, and his strength could not be that strong. But now, the stumpy old man changed his mind. Ningyu was too strong. Ningyu's strength was not a good thing for the stumpy old man. When he retrieves the 10,000 beasts flame core, I will kill him. The stumpy old man did not want to complicate matters. If not for the fact that he could not enter the 10,000 beasts flame, Ningyu would have been killed along the way and would not have survived until now. Chapter 1229. Suppress devour the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts and control the flames of 10,000 beasts. Using the purple-gold sky-devouring hound as the main ingredient and the emptiness cauldron as the foundation, you can refine the required elixir. The short and fat old man was extremely excited. Things were developing in a direction that he could control. The stout old man was not afraid of Ningyu swallowing the 10,000 beasts flaming heart, because if an ordinary martial artist swallowed the 10,000 beasts flaming heart, there would only be one result, and that was exploding and dying. In order to devour the myriad beasts flaming heart, one must fulfill two conditions. First, one's soul force must be very strong. Second, the myriad beasts flaming pill. Devouring the 10,000 beasts flaming heart, no matter how strong one's soul energy was, without the assistance of the 10,000 beasts flaming pill, whoever devoured the 10,000 beasts flaming heart would be finished. Therefore, the short and stout elder was very confident in Ningyu. The 10,000 beasts flame pill was a grade 9 medicinal pill. He had spent a lot of effort to get his hands on it. It was impossible for Ningyu to have the 10,000 beasts flame pill. Get lost. In fact, Ningyu would have sped up even without the short and stout old man's urging. The myriad beast flame was ranked 30th on the mystic flame list. Not only could it increase the speed and success rate of pill concoction, it could also be used against enemies. According to Ningyu's guess, if he could control the myriad beast's flame, he could even confront and kill an initial phase 9th grade sovereign. Kai Kai. The red demon sword slashed at the bodies of the gigantic beasts, blasting away the dozens of gigantic beasts in front of the 1,000 beasts flame. As for Ningyu, he tore through the void and dived into the 10,000 beasts flame. As soon as he entered the 10,000 beasts flame, Ningyu's face turned deathly pale. Hot. The 10,000 beasts flame was ranked 30th on the mystic flame list. The temperature inside it was frighteningly high. Even if Ningyu used all his essence chi, he was unable to withstand the scorching impact. 3 minutes. Ningyu knew his body's condition very well. Even if he gave it his all, he could only last 3 minutes inside the 10,000 beasts flame. In other words, he would have to leave the 10,000 beasts flame in 3 minutes. If you don't leave, you'll be roasted. Where is the blazing heart of all beasts? Ningyu exerted a little of his perception and walked forward step by step. At this time, it might not be appropriate to describe Ningyu as walking. Move. Moving was the most appropriate word to describe Ningyu. Ningyu's speed was very slow, so slow that it was terrifying. He was no different from a snail. Time was ticking away. In the blink of an eye, a minute passed. Bean-sized beads of sweat dripped from Ningyu's forehead. Kai Kai. Before his sweat could fall, it was evaporated by the scorching heat. Is the blazing heart of all beasts not inside? Ningyu used his perception to probe the interior of the 10,000 beasts flame with great difficulty. After a while, a thought suddenly popped into his mind. The 10,000 beasts flaming core was the main flame of the 10,000 beasts flame. Its core temperature was terrifyingly high. Right now, the temperature inside the 10,000 beast flame was surprisingly uniform. There was no place that was hot or cold. Old man, there's no blazing heart of all beasts here. Ningyu asked if he didn't understand. He didn't want to waste his time here. Shouting, Ningyu said, I'll give you 3 seconds to think. Otherwise, I'll leave the 10,000 beasts flame immediately. There's no blazing heart of all beasts. The old man was slightly taken aback. Then, his face turned ugly. I've been tricked. The old man was furious. He had learned about the 10,000 beasts flame in this palace from a sheepskin scroll. He had found the sheepskin scroll in one of the caves. The sheepskin scroll was obviously old. There was no reason for someone to play a prank on it. What's going on? The short and fat old man glared at him anxiously. If there was no blazing heart of all beasts inside the 10,000 beasts flame, then his plan today would be for naught. Search again. The 10,000 beasts flame must be inside. I can guarantee it. The short and stout old man said in a deep voice, "You can release your soul power and carefully examine it." "My soul power is too weak. It's only early stage grade 8. I'm afraid it will burn me," Ningyu replied. Ningyu wouldn't use his soul power. Given the current situation, he couldn't even use his perception, let alone his soul power. "If you don't use your soul power to search, I'll kill this black dog right now." The old man was smart. He used the Dark Emperor to threaten Ningyu. Swoosh. Helpless, Ningyu could only use his soul power to search carefully. Sure enough, just as Ningyu expected, when his soul force left his body, it began to rapidly weaken. The 10,000 beasts flame had a terrifying effect on souls. Found it. When the second minute passed, Ningyu's face was filled with ecstasy. Not far in front of him, a fist-sized golden flame floated in the air. The 10,000 beasts flame was green. The 10,000 beasts flame core was gold. What's going on? Did you find the 10,000 beasts flame core? Inside the hall, the old man kept an eye on Ningyu's movements. As his soul power was unusually strong, the old man could see Ningyu suddenly stop. "I don't know if this is the 10,000 beasts flame core," Ningyu said calmly. "What color is it?" the old man asked hurriedly. "Gold," Ningyu said, "the size of a fist. It is the 10,000 beasts flame core." The old man was ecstatic. "Quick, take it out. I want to devour it." The old man was excited. With the 10,000 beasts flame core, he could control the 10,000 beasts flame. As long as he could control the 10,000 beasts flame, he could use the nihility pill furnace to refine elixirs. Thinking of this, the short and fat old man was a little excited, revealing an excited expression. "Are you kidding me?" Ningyu said, "The 10,000 beasts flame core's temperature is frightening. How do I take it out? That's a problem." The old man fell into deep thought. Ningyu did not have the 10,000 beasts flame core. There was no way he could get close to the 10,000 beasts flame core. Under this premise, Ningyu could not bring the 10,000 beasts flame core out. He had been too careless. After a moment, the old man said, "How about this? I will throw the nihility cauldron into the 10,000 beasts flame. You use the nihility cauldron to store the 10,000 beasts flame core." "No problem." Ningyu raised an eyebrow. "Go." The old man flicked his wrist and threw the nihility cauldron. The nihility cauldron was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it arrived inside the 10,000 beasts flame. Devour. Inside the 10,000 beasts flame, Ningyu made a crazy move. He released all of his yuan qi and soul power, wrapping them around the flaming heart of 10,000 beasts and swallowing it. Poochie. As soon as the 10,000 beasts flame core entered Ningyu's mouth, Ningyu vomited a mouthful of blood. Suppress. At this critical moment, Ningyu began to communicate with the law of space. The law of space had a special ability. It could isolate space. Ningyu wanted to use the law of space to isolate the 10,000 beasts flame core. Chapter 1230. Attempt to control rumble. The law of space did not disappoint Ningyu. In Ningyu's sea of consciousness, the law of space isolated a small area, and the 10,000 beasts flaming heart was inside. Phew. Ningyu heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the law of space trapping the 10,000 beasts flaming heart. Ningyu knew that this was not the right time to study the 10,000 beasts flaming heart. He spat out another mouthful of blood and said anxiously, "Hurry up, I can't hold on any longer." The reason why Ningyu said this was to dispel the concerns in the short and stout old man's heart. After all, his previous actions had almost been discovered by the old man, and he needed to divert the old man's attention. "Hold on for 3 more seconds." Ningyu's decision proved to be a wise one. The old man's attention was completely attracted. Terrifying soul fluctuations rushed out of his body and pushed the elixir cauldron into the 10,000 beasts' flaming heart. "Quick, throw the 10,000 beasts' flaming heart into the cauldron," the old man shouted, his eyes burning. "I'll give you a fake 10,000 beasts' flaming heart." The corners of Ningyu's mouth curled up. He grabbed a ball of flame and used a secret technique to turn it golden. Then, Ningyu threw the fake 10,000 beasts' flaming heart into the elixir cauldron. In order to convince the old man, Ningyu even burned his right hand, making it look like he had suffered a serious injury. Kai. As soon as Ningyu threw the fake 10,000 beasts' flaming heart into the cauldron shot out of the 10,000 beasts' flaming heart. Swoosh. Ningyu did not dare to be slow. He followed the elixir cauldron out of the 10,000 beasts' flaming heart. After coming out of the 10,000 beasts' flaming heart, Ningyu looked relieved. "I'm finally out." The temperature inside the 10,000 beasts' flaming heart was too high. Ningyu could imagine that if he stayed for another 3 minutes, no, 1 minute, he would turn into a puddle of water. "Fortunately, I have the nihility pill furnace." At this moment, Ningyu even began to thank the nothingness pill furnace. Without the nihility pill furnace, the short and stout old man would never allow him to leave the 10,000 beasts' flame. The temperature inside the 10,000 beasts' flame was extremely high. If they stayed any longer, they would be roasted alive. Ha ha ha. Beside him, the short and stout old man grabbed the nothingness pill furnace, his face filled with ecstasy. Blazing heart of 10,000 beast. After much effort, he finally obtained the 10,000 beasts' flaming heart. "I have the 10,000 beast flame Dan, I will swallow the 10,000 beast flame heart now." The short and fat old man did not want to wait any longer. He desperately wanted to devour the 10,000 beasts' flame heart and control the 10,000 beasts' flame. As long as he could control the 10,000 beasts' flame, he would be able to refine pills. At the thought of using the purple gold heaven devouring hound to refine pills, the short and fat elder became very excited. "Oh right." Suddenly, the short and fat old man calmed down. He turned to Ningyu and said, "Your mission is complete." "Mission completed? What do you mean?" Ningyu was slightly taken aback and asked doubtfully. "It's simple. You can die now." The short and fat old man said lightly. "You want to kill me after I'm done with the grinding?" Ningyu's face darkened and he said angrily, "I did not hesitate to burn my life force to help you obtain the 10,000 beasts' flame heart. Not only did you not give me any benefits, you even want to kill me. Hehe, this is a world where the strong prey on the weak. You are weak, so it's only natural for me to kill you." With a faint smile, the short and fat old man continued, "If I was weaker than you, the one who would be killed would definitely be me. Can we discuss this? For example, you can refine pills, and I can be your assistant." Ningyu quickly calmed down and said, "A grade 9 pill was extremely difficult to refine. Even if the short and fat old man had the nothingness pill furnace and could control the 10,000 beasts flame, he definitely did not have absolute confidence in refining a grade 9 pill." Ningyu began to recommend himself and said, "I am an 8th grade early stage alchemist. My soul strength is only 1 grade lower than yours. I can help you refine some of the herbs. You should know that a grade 9 pill is very difficult to refine. Without help, it will be difficult for you to refine it." Ningyu began to try to persuade the short and fat old man step by step. "Now that you mention it, it seems to be the case." Ningyu's words had a certain effect. After a moment of silence, the short and fat old man said, "I will spare your life for now. If you can help me refine a grade 9 pill, not only will I not kill you, but I will also accept you as my disciple." "No problem, I will definitely do my best." Ningyu felt as if he had been granted amnesty and hurriedly said, "All right, go and rest first. If there is a need, I will call you." Waving his hand, the short and fat old man then separated a bit of soul strength into the nothingness pill furnace and took out the golden flame that Ningyu had thrown in. Blazing heart of 10,000 beast. The short and fat old man's face turned pale. He immediately sat cross-legged on the ground. Strands of yuan qi flowed down his arm and into the nothingness pill furnace. Come out. The yuan qi moved back and forth in the nothingness pill furnace and soon found the location of the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts. Swish. As the short and fat old man shouted, the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts flew out of the nothingness pill furnace and floated above the short and fat old man's head. Crack. In order to refine the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts, the short and fat old man directly took out the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts and threw it into his mouth to chew. The blazing heart of 10,000 beasts was specially refined to devour the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts. Its effect was a bit simple. It could only assist in devouring the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts and did not have any substantial effect. The pill shattered, and a powerful energy wave shuttled back and forth in the short and fat old man's sea of consciousness. Quick, try to speed up. When you devour the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts, it will be the time of your death. Ningyu did not follow the short and fat old man's intention to rest. After all, he was not injured in the first place. He was only pretending to be injured to stay. Now that he had stayed, it would be too unreasonable to continue pretending. Swallow it. The short and fat old man did not know what Ningyu was thinking. After refining the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts, he opened his mouth and swallowed the fake blazing heart of 10,000 beast. Swallowing the blazing heart of 10,000 beast. Even though Ningyu was prepared, he was still shocked. Gulp. After swallowing the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts, the short and fat old man's stomach grumbled, as if it was still not full. I will need about half an hour to completely refine the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts. The short and fat old man was very satisfied. The blazing heart of 10,000 beasts was said to be miraculous in the outside world. Originally, the short and fat old man thought that he would need at least 3 to 4 hours to refine the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts. Who would have thought that he could refine it in half an hour? Wasn't it said that the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts was extremely difficult to refine? Why was he able to refine the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts in half an hour? Maybe the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts is very effective. This was the only explanation that made sense. Otherwise, with his strength, there was no way he could refine the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts so quickly. You'll cry later. Chapter 1231. Chapter 1231. Chapter 1231 Success. What the short old man was refining was not the real myriad beast flaming heart, but a fake. The real myriad beast flaming heart was in Ningyu's sea of consciousness. I have to refine the myriad beast flaming heart. Ningyu knew the severity of the problem. He had to refine the myriad beast flaming heart before the short old man. Only then would he be able to fight the short old man head-on. The short old man's martial strength was trash. As long as he could suppress his soul power, he could kill him. Although Ningyu was desperate to refine the myriad beast flaming heart, he was not reckless. The temperature of the myriad beast flaming heart was terrifyingly high. Without any precautions, it was very difficult to refine it. Go. Ningyu gathered his soul power in his sea of consciousness and separated a bit of it to touch the myriad beast flaming heart. Kai Kai. As soon as Ningyu's soul power approached the myriad beast flaming heart, it was melted by the scorching heat. This won't work. Ningyu fell into deep thought. It was obviously unrealistic to seek a breakthrough through soul power. Furthermore, Yuan Qi could not approach the myriad beast flaming heart. Under this premise, refining the myriad beast flaming heart was indeed more difficult than ascending to the heavens. What should I do? Seeing the short old man's progress getting faster, Ningyu's worry grew. Time waited for no man. He could not delay any longer. Spirit transformation technique. At the critical moment, Ningyu executed the spirit transformation technique to the extreme and told the Space Law to release the myriad beast flaming heart. Kai Kai Kai. The Space Law did not hesitate and directly released the myriad beast flaming heart. However, after the Space Law released the myriad beast flaming heart, it immediately entered the storage ring. Clearly, even the Space Law was a little wary of the myriad beast flaming heart and did not want to stay here. I must refine the myriad beast flaming heart today. Ningyu's mind was completely focused. At this moment, there was only one thought in his mind, and that was to refine the myriad beast flaming heart as soon as possible. Ningyu did not want to pay attention to other things, nor could he. Something's not right. While Ningyu was refining the 10,000 beasts flaming heart with all his might, the stocky old man inside the palace revealed a suspicious expression. As a ninth-grade alchemist, the stumpy old man was no fool. His initial excitement dissipated, and his expression became very solemn. The short and stout old man began to doubt the authenticity of the flaming heart of 10,000 beasts. In just 10 minutes, he could feel that he had refined half of the blazing heart of all beasts. At this rate, he would need at most 20 minutes to completely refine the blazing heart of 10,000 beasts. Refining the 10,000 beasts' flaming heart in 20 minutes, anyone would be suspicious. Could it be that the 10,000 beasts' flaming heart Ningyu gave me was fake? Is he really refining it himself? As soon as this thought popped up in his mind, the short and stout old man eliminated it. Ignoring the high temperature of the 10,000 beasts' flaming heart, just the lack of the 10,000 beasts' flaming pill was enough to eliminate Ningyu. Refining the myriad beasts' flaming heart without swallowing the myriad beasts' flaming pill? It was no different from courting death. Whatever. Let's refine the heart of myriad beasts first. Shaking his head, the short and stout elder focused his mind and began to refine the flaming heart of all beasts wholeheartedly. For a moment, the entire palace became somewhat quiet. The Dark Emperor was lying on the side, his aura weak and his consciousness blurry. The stout old man was refining the myriad beast's flaming heart on the left, while Ningyu was refining the myriad beast's flaming heart on the right. The only difference was that Ningyu had refined the real 10,000 beasts flaming heart, while the old man had refined a fake one. Drip, drip. Time was ticking away. Catcher. 10 minutes later. A crisp voice rang out from the short and stout old man's sea of consciousness. Whoosh. As the voice rang out, the short and fat old man suddenly opened his eyes and soared into the air. 10,000 beasts flame, come here quickly. The stocky old man flew in front of the myriad beasts flame and said in a deep voice. The myriad beasts flame did not move. Come here. The short and stout old man berated. The myriad beasts flame remained motionless. Damn it. Looks like I need to use my soul force to establish a connection with the myriad beasts flame. Cursing inwardly, the short and fat old man separated a portion of his soul force and sent it flying towards the myriad beast's flame. Kai. The result was beyond the short and fat old man's expectations. The moment his soul force got close to the myriad beast's flame, it was swallowed by it. Fat. After his soul force was swallowed, the short and fat old man's expression was extremely ugly and gloomy. Fresh blood spurted out of his mouth as he shouted, "Who the F***CK can tell me what's going on?" The short and fat old man cursed inwardly. He had thought that everything was going according to his plan, but who would have thought that there would be a mishap? Phew. At the same time, on the other side, Ningyu heaved a long sigh of relief. Excitement could be seen on his face. Let me tell you what's going on. Ningyu said to the short and fat old man, there are a total of 2 10,000 beasts flame hearts. You refined one, and I refined the other. 2 10,000 beasts flame hearts? Are you F***king kidding me? The short and fat old man looked at Ningyu as if he was looking at an idiot. No one knew the 10,000 beasts flame better than the short and fat old man. When he first found the 10,000 beasts flame, the short and fat old man used all his connections to investigate it. In the end, he came to the conclusion that there was only one 10,000 beasts flame heart. Now, Ningyu said that there were 2 10,000 beasts flame hearts. Was he taking him for an idiot? Why would I joke with you? There are 2 10,000 beasts flame hearts to begin with. The one you talked about is the younger one, and the one I refined is the older one. Ningyu shrugged. What the F***CK? Can you be more reasonable with your words? The short and fat old man cursed. Believe it or not, it's up to you. As long as I am not willing, you have no way of controlling the 10,000 beasts flame heart. Ningyu said again. I don't believe it. With a cold snort, the short and fat old man sent another portion of his soul force towards the 10,000 beasts' flame. But, without a doubt, this portion of soul force was also devoured. Try to control the 10,000 beasts' flame again. This time, it will definitely listen to you. Ningyu said. Come here. The short and fat old man was a little suspicious. He stretched out his right hand and waved at the 10,000 beasts' flame. Swoosh. Sure enough, the 10,000 beasts' flame flew out at an astonishing speed and arrived in front of the short and fat old man in the blink of an eye. How is this possible? The 10,000 beasts' flame's face was filled with shock. Wasn't this too terrifying? If what Ningyu said was true, didn't it mean that the 10,000 beasts' flame was now under Ningyu's control? Thinking of this, the short and fat old man's face turned ugly. Do you believe me now? Ningyu's voice sounded at the right time. So what if I believe you? So what if I don't believe you? The short and fat old man scolded. Do you think you are my opponent just because you can control the 10,000 beasts' flame? I have to say, you are too naive. You are a martial arts idiot. Why can't I be your opponent? Ningyu curled his lips and said disdainfully, although your soul force is strong, I have the help of the 10,000 beasts' flame. It can firmly suppress your soul force. Chapter 1232. Chapter 1232. An agreement. What can I use to fight you? Ha ha ha. The short old man laughed. His laughter was a little arrogant and unbridled. After laughing maniacally, the short and stout old man said coldly, You might have forgotten something important. This palace is my territory. If I wanted to kill you, it would be as easy as blowing off dust. Is that so? I would like to see it for myself. With the 10,000 beasts' flame in hand, Ningyu was fearless. The short old man did not answer Ningyu. Instead, he waved his hands. As the short old man waved his hands, the ground suddenly caved in. Swish. Not long after, a huge object slowly rose from the ground. A puppet. Looking at the huge object that suddenly appeared, Ningyu's mouth was slightly agape. He was a little shocked. This was because the puppet was too big. It occupied 8 out of 10 parts of the palace, leaving the remaining 2 parts for Ningyu and the short old man. Swish. Not long after the puppet appeared, the short and stout old man leaped up and sat on the puppet's shoulder. Crush him. The short old man was enraged. Ningyu had caused him to lose a 10,000 beasts flame pill. He had to take revenge for this. There was only one way, and that was to crush Ningyu and extract the 10,000 beasts flame heart from Ningyu's body. As long as he extracted the 10,000 beasts flame heart from Ningyu's body and combined it with the 10,000 beasts flame pill, he still had hope of controlling the 10,000 beasts flame pill. The huge puppet immediately swung its right arm at Ningyu after receiving the order from the short old man. Ningyu's heart skipped a beat and he hurriedly retreated. Boom. Ningyu dodged the puppet's attack, but the wall behind him was not so lucky. The wall collapsed, and rubble scattered all over the ground. Not bad. The short old man's lips curled up. Increase your attack speed. Boom. Boom. The puppet's thoughts were simple. It would do whatever the short old man told it to do. His priority now was to kill Ningyu. His arms rotated back and forth, and even his legs stomped left and right, striving to crush Ningyu. Ningyu jumped back and forth in the palace and was almost hit by the arm of the puppet several times. Even though he had been hiding all this while, it wasn't like he hadn't gained anything. At the very least, when Ningyu approached the Dark Emperor, he put the Dark Emperor into his storage ring. After confirming that the Dark Emperor's life was not in danger, Ningyu could properly fight with the short and fat old man. I didn't think that you would possess a magic treasure capable of storing people. Very well. This will be able to compensate for the loss of my myriad beasts flame pill. The stocky old man was very pleased to see Ningyu store the Dark Emperor into his storage ring. A magic treasure that could carry a person was extremely rare. Even he only had one. No one would dislike having too many of these treasures. At the very least, they could slightly make up for the loss of the 10,000 beasts flame pill. This was the most important thing. After taking care of the Dark Emperor, Ningyu took out the red demon sword and slashed at the puppet's arm. Ding! Dreams were plentiful, but reality was always too harsh. Even though the red demon sword was of high quality, it could not cause the slightest bit of damage to the puppet. This flying sword of yours is not bad either. It's of high quality. I'll reluctantly accept it. Sitting on the shoulder of the puppet, the stocky old man said proudly, "If you want my red demon sword and my storage ring, we'll have to see if you have the ability to do so." Ningyu said solemnly. Ningyu had already planned to exchange 3 more blows with the puppet. After that, if he still could not cause any damage to the puppet, he would immediately retreat. Where there's life, there's hope. Ha ha ha. The stocky old man laughed again. As his laughter faded, the stocky old man said disdainfully, "To tell you the truth, this puppet's material is extremely special. Even if you use a high-grade monarch flying sword, you won't be able to break through its defense. Don't be too smug. I can use the flame of 10,000 beasts." With a thought, Ningyu began to control the flame of 10,000 beasts to deal with the puppet. Swoosh! The first move, the flame of 10,000 beasts rushed out, targeting the puppet. Bang! A sound rang out, and the flame of 10,000 beasts rebounded. On the other hand, the entire arm of the puppet was charred black. So powerful. Ningyu was a little dumbfounded. The material of this puppet was too terrifying, wasn't it? It was fine if the red demon sword could not break through its defense, but now, even the flame of 10,000 beasts could not break through its defense. It was a little terrifying. Go. Ningyu was not an indecisive person. After the first move, he did not want to use the second or third move at all. Instead, his figure flashed, and he fled out of the palace. "Where are you going?" Seeing that Ningyu had left, the stocky old man patted the puppet's shoulder. Suddenly, the huge puppet burst out, its speed no slower than Ningyu's. This was a little awkward. You could not break through the material of the puppet, and you were not as fast as the puppet. How could you escape? I can't go on like this. Seeing that the puppet was about to catch up to him, Ningyu stopped at the entrance of the palace and shouted, "Stocky old man, if you dare to kill me, I will throw the flame of 10,000 beasts out even if I am seriously injured. Throw it. There's nothing else within a few miles." What? Initially, the stocky old man's expression did not change, but halfway through his sentence, he stopped abruptly and exclaimed, "Oh my God!" Not only was the stocky old man surprised, but even Ningyu cursed. Hide your aura. At that moment, Ningyu and the stocky old man seemed to have reached a consensus, and they both hid their auras. Whoosh! At the same time, above the palace where Ningyu and the stocky old man were, 2 figures suddenly stopped. What's going on? Why is the stocky old man's aura gone? These 2 martial artists were not strangers. One was Defy from the Emperor Palace, and the other was the Evil Dragon Valley Master from the Evil Dragon Valley. Defy used his senses and said, "Not only is the stocky old man's aura gone, but even Ningyu's aura is gone. Their auras did disappear from here." The Evil Dragon Valley Master narrowed his eyes and said, "Let's split up and search for them. With this place as the center, we'll search the area within a few dozen miles." "No problem." Nodding his head, Defy stomped his feet on the ground, and his body instantly disappeared. "I hope when we find them, the elixirs have just been refined." The corner of the Evil Dragon Valley Master's mouth curled up, and his body gradually became illusory. Whoosh! Whoosh! Inside the underground palace, the stocky old man and Ningyu looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. It was too dangerous. If the Evil Dragon Valley Master and Defy knew they were here, the consequences would be unimaginable. The stocky old man was afraid, and so was Ningyu. At that moment, the palace became quiet. Ningyu and the stocky old man did not speak, nor did they continue to fight. They were afraid that the Evil Dragon Valley Master and Defy had not gone far. If they fought now, they would undoubtedly be courting death. Why don't we lay low for a while? Chapter 1233. Chapter 1233. Chapter 1233. Testing each other. After Ningyu and the short old man finished speaking, they did not speak anymore. For a moment, the noisy palace became quiet again. Ningyu, why don't we make a deal? This silence only lasted for 2 minutes before it was broken by the short and fat old man's voice. After sorting out his thoughts, the short and fat old man said in a deep voice, "Give me the 10,000 beasts flame to control, I want to refine the pill as soon as possible." "What pill do you want to refine?" Ningyu did not reject the short and fat old man immediately, but asked doubtfully. "Heaven-swallowing overlord pill," the short and fat old man said with a shocking tone. "What? Heaven-swallowing overlord pill?" Hearing the words of the short and fat old man, Ningyu's originally indifferent face instantly became extremely gloomy. Ningyu was a peak 9th grade alchemist in his previous life, so he knew more about the heaven-swallowing overlord pill than anyone else. The heaven-swallowing overlord pill, as the name suggested, was an extremely overbearing pill. If it was only like this, Ningyu would not be shocked, and would even lend the 10,000 beasts flame heart to the short and fat old man. The reason why Ningyu was angry was because the main ingredient of the heaven-swallowing overlord pill was the heaven-swallowing dog. It could be said that without the heaven-swallowing dog, the heaven-swallowing overlord pill could not be refined. That's right, it's the heaven-swallowing overlord pill, so in addition to the 10,000 beasts flame, I also need that heaven-swallowing dog. The short and fat old man did not notice the change in Ningyu's expression and continued to speak. "With my alchemy level, I should be able to refine 10 pills in one furnace. At that time, I'll give you 2. No, I'll give you 3 heaven-swallowing overlord pills, how about it?" "Kaka." Ningyu gritted his teeth in anger. This was going too far. The short and fat old man was really going too far. Didn't he know that the Dark Emperor had a good relationship with him? He actually said such words in front of him. "Aunt can tolerate it, uncle can't. Looks like a battle is inevitable." Trying his best to restrain the anger in his heart, Ningyu looked at the short and fat old man with interest and said. The short and stout old man was confused. Wasn't it just a heaven-devouring dog? One had to know that in order to swallow the Heaven Overlord pill, he could even betray his own brother. If you think that the Heaven-swallowing Overlord pill is too little, I can add another one. 4 Heaven-swallowing Overlord pills, this is the bottom line I can accept. No. The short and stout elder frowned slightly, as if he had made a big concession. However, as soon as the short and stout old man finished speaking, his expression changed drastically, and he hurriedly controlled the puppet to fight with Ningyu. Catcher. This time, the giant puppet was half a beat slower. With the red demon sword in hand, Ningyu arrived at the puppet's feet in the blink of an eye. With a slash, he chopped off one of the puppet's toes. What a freak! With one successful move, Ningyu immediately retreated. Ningyu's original intention was to chop off the puppet's ankle. However, Ningyu changed his strategy at the last moment when he thought of how terrifying the puppet was. He used the red demon sword to slash at the puppet's toe. Fortunately, Ningyu changed his strategy at the last moment. Otherwise, he wouldn't even be able to touch the puppet's toe. Let's discuss this. Seeing that one of the puppet's toes had been chopped off, the short and stout old man was furious. Although he was angry, the short and stout old man still did not want to clash with Ningyu. At the very least, he could not clash with Ningyu before Di-Bo and the evil Dragon Valley Master left the area. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. There's no room for discussion. I have no objections to you refining the Heaven-swallowing Overlord pill, but you can't use the Heaven-swallowing hound as the main ingredient. Clearly, Ningyu did not want to clash with the short and stout old man either. Without the Heaven-swallowing hound as the main ingredient, there's no way to refine the Heaven-swallowing Overlord pill. The short and stout old man was in a dilemma. Without the Heaven-swallowing hound, he could indeed refine the Heaven-swallowing Overlord pill, but the effect would be much weaker. To be precise, it was no longer appropriate to name the pill without the Heaven-swallowing hound as the Heaven-swallowing Overlord pill. Earth-swallowing Overlord pill. Without the Heaven-swallowing hound, the final pill would be called the Earth-swallowing Overlord pill. And most importantly, even if he did not use the Heaven-swallowing hound, he would have to use the Hellhound as a replacement. Although the Hellhound was not as precious as the Heaven-swallowing hound, it was extremely difficult to obtain. I sense a trace of the hellhound's scent on you. If I'm not wrong, you should have a backup plan. Ningyu stared at the short and stout old man with interest, not concealing his inner thoughts at all. He said, "You know that it's very difficult to encounter the heaven-swallowing hound, so you prepared a hellhound in advance to replace it. If you have the heaven-swallowing hound, you will refine the heaven-swallowing overlord pill. If you don't have the heaven-swallowing hound, you will refine the earth-swallowing overlord pill. In short, you will definitely not be empty-handed. There's no room for negotiation." Ningyu's words shocked the short and stout old man. However, the short and stout old man did not want to give up. He continued, "I can increase the number of heaven-swallowing overlord pills to 5. Humph. Seems like you still don't understand. Since that's the case, we have nothing to say. I'd better leave as soon as possible." With a cold snort, Ningyu stomped on the ground with both feet and scurried out of the palace rapidly. Ningyu's goal was very clear: to leave the palace. Don't. I'm not refining the heaven-swallowing overlord pill anymore." Seeing Ningyu leave, the short and stout old man was a little dumbfounded and was finally moved. The short and stout old man was very clear about what kind of wicked thoughts Ningyu had. "Damn it. When I refine the earth-swallowing overlord pill, I'll show you." Cursing inwardly, the short and stout old man said, "Ningyu, I promise you that I won't refine the heaven-swallowing overlord pill anymore. I'll refine the earth-swallowing overlord pill instead." Swoosh. As he said that, the short and stout old man took out a storage bag from his chest and threw it on the ground. Boom. The storage bag shattered with a loud bang and a black demonic beast appeared from within. Hellhound. This black demonic beast was the hellhound. However, this hellhound was already dead, killed by a sword through its throat. "Can you let me control the 10,000 beasts' flame now?" the short and stout old man said. "Sure, but I have a small request." Ningyu hesitated. "Speak." The short and stout old man said through gritted teeth. "I can let you control my 10,000 beasts' flame for a short period of time, but you have to let me control your puppet for a short period of time." Ningyu said lightly. "No way." The short and stout old man refused without a second thought. What a joke. The puppet was his trump card and could only be controlled by him. Once Ningyu took control of it, how was he going to survive? "If you don't let me control it, then forget it." Shrugging, Ningyu chose to close his eyes and rest. "You." The short and stout old man was furious. Ningyu's current state clearly showed that he did not want to let him control the 10,000 beasts' flame. Although the earth-swallowing overlord pill was much weaker than the heaven-swallowing overlord pill, without the 10,000 beasts' flame, it would still be difficult for the short and stout old man to refine it. In short, the 10,000 beasts' flame was the most important part of refining the earth-swallowing overlord pill. "Fine, I promise you, but I'm afraid you can't bear it." Chapter 1234. Fail. What's so difficult about that? Ningyu took a step forward and said proudly, "If you encounter any danger later, don't blame me for not warning you." The short and fat old man glanced at Ningyu in disdain, then his figure flashed and he retreated to the other side. "I'll stay away from the puppet, lest you blame me for playing tricks." Ningyu couldn't be bothered with the short and stout old man. Even if the short and fat old man retreated from the palace, he would definitely do something. However, this was the best opportunity to control the puppet, and Ningyu did not want to miss it. Taking a deep breath, a sliver of soul power shot out from Ningyu's body. Drawing a beautiful arc in the air, it entered the puppet's sea of knowledge. Hiss. Just as his soul force entered the puppet's sea of knowledge, Ningyu's expression changed greatly and he sucked in a breath of cold air. He had underestimated the old man's ability. A puppet's sea of consciousness was very different from an ordinary martial artist's. In other words, the puppet didn't have a sea of knowledge. In its head, there was a vortex, from which an endless stream of energy was gushing out. Shio. At this moment, the situation suddenly changed. A terrifying devouring force shot out from the whirlpool. Its target was Ningyu's soul force. Run. Ningyu's heart shuddered, and he hurriedly tried to withdraw his soul power. If you withdraw your soul power now, it means that you've given up. The stumpy old man's voice rang out in a timely manner. Hearing the short and stout old man's words, Ningyu gritted his teeth and chose to leave his soul power in the puppet's head. Kai Kai. Ningyu paid the price for his carelessness. The devouring power was simply too terrifying. In just an instant, it had devoured half of Ningyu's soul force. Ha ha ha. The short and stout old man was very clear about the changes that had occurred in the puppet's head. Throwing his head back and letting out a wild laugh, the short and stout old man said to Ningyu, "Give it up. After a while, the other half of your soul power will be devoured. It's just a strand of my soul power. It's no big deal." Ningyu said indifferently as if he didn't mind at all. "Furthermore, my soul force has yet to be completely devoured, so it's still unknown who will win and who will lose. Fine, I want to see how long you can last." The short and fat elder crossed his arms in front of his chest, exuding a strong sense of confidence. Drip, drip. Time was ticking away. In the blink of an eye, 30 seconds passed. In 30 seconds, the soul power that Ningyu had sent into the puppet's mind had already been reduced by 3/4. At this rate, the remaining quarter of his soul power could only last for 10 seconds at most. There are only 10 seconds left. You can let me control the myriad beast's flame. The short and fat old man reminded him. It's not time yet, Ningyu said coldly. By now, Ningyu had already given up on the plan of holding on for a minute. His soul force wouldn't be able to last even a minute. Not to mention a minute, as long as the short and stout old man was willing, he wouldn't even be able to last 30 seconds. Under this condition, he had to find a breakthrough. For example, trying to find the core of the puppet and send his soul power there. Without hesitation, Ningyu hurriedly sent out an even weaker soul power to search the puppet's mind. There's a chance. Suddenly, Ningyu raised his eyebrows, his face revealing a joyful expression. Found it. Behind the whirlpool, there was an extremely well-hidden space, and in that space, there was a white ball of light. According to Ningyu's guess, that white ball of light was the core of the puppet. Regardless of the consequences, Ningyu forcefully sent his soul power into the white ball of light. Poochie. Just as Ningyu sent his soul power into the white ball of light, the soul power on the other side was completely devoured by the whirlpool. Ningyu also spat out a mouthful of blood, and his breath was slightly weakened. Sigh, what a pity. The short and fat old man walked over and sighed, 40 seconds. You only lasted for 40 seconds before your soul power was completely devoured. Unfortunately, you failed. You don't have to say it. On the surface, Ningyu was very angry, but in fact, he was very excited. Because he could faintly feel that after his soul power entered the white ball of light, he could already establish a weak connection with the puppet. Ningyu was enduring. As long as his soul power completely rooted in the white ball of light, and stabilized its position, the short and fat old man's puppet would be under his control. Once he controlled the puppet, the short and fat old man would no longer have any room to fight back. As for now, Ningyu only had one thought, and that was to try his best not to be discovered by the short and fat old man. Shio. With a thought, the flame of 10,000 beasts flew out from Ningyu's side and floated above the short and fat old man's head. I will leave the heart of 10,000 beasts to you for now. The time limit is 5 hours. According to Ningyu's estimation, he should be able to control the puppet in 5 hours. Therefore, he set the time limit at 5 hours. What a joke! The short and fat old man was very angry and said, "The earth-swallowing overlord pill is extremely difficult to refine. Although I have the help of the flame of 10,000 beasts and the nihility pill furnace, I still can't refine it in 5 hours. 10 hours, you must let me control the flame of 10,000 beasts for 10 hours. Only then can I guarantee that I can refine the earth-swallowing overlord pill. Do you think I am a 3-year-old child? With the flame of 10,000 beasts and the nihility pill furnace, I can refine the earth-swallowing overlord pill in 5 hours. Ningyu said, "Stop with the nonsense. From now on, after 5 hours, I will take back the control of the flame of 10,000 beasts." Damn it! The short and fat old man was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. 5 hours was just enough to refine the earth-swallowing overlord pill. Ningyu was very clear about this. Originally, the short and fat old man wanted to spend 5 hours refining the earth-swallowing overlord pill, and the remaining 5 hours to study the flame of 10,000 beasts to see if he could take it from Ningyu. Now, it seemed that the time was far from enough. "I'll let you live a little longer." The short and fat old man fiercely glared at Ningyu and then took out a storage bag. At the same time, he rolled up the nihility pill furnace and threw it into the air. He controlled the flame of 10,000 beasts to float at the bottom of the nihility pill furnace. Boom! The terrifying temperature was constantly burning the nihility pill furnace. The temperature of the flame of 10,000 beasts was extremely high, and the endurance of the nihility pill furnace was also very terrifying. Ordinary pill furnaces simply could not withstand the burning of the flame of 10,000 beasts. Ordinary flames simply could not raise the temperature of the nihility pill furnace. Go! The short and fat old man took out a medicinal herb from the storage bag and threw it into the nihility pill furnace. Kai. The temperature of the nihility pill furnace was already very high, so when the medicinal herb was thrown into the furnace, it immediately burned into a pool of liquid. "Come out!" the short and fat old man shouted in a low voice. His soul force flew out of his body and entered the nihility pill furnace. The impurities of the first medicinal herb were forced out of the nihility pill furnace by the short and fat old man's soul force. Kai. In the next moment, the short and fat old man grabbed another medicinal herb and threw it into the furnace. There were many medicinal herbs needed to refine the earth-swallowing overlord pill. Therefore, the short and fat old man's action would not cause any changes in a short time. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,